gun screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night. They sell fear, cheap package the lies, while the clock keeps ticking, empires on fire. Can't sit quiet while the world's on edge. Lines in the sand, standing on the ledge. No script, no leash, no polish, quiet. Just a voice in the dark and a spark to the wire. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. Everybody's selling truth like a brand, buying opinions they don't understand. Talking in circles, screaming online. Keyboard courage, borrowed spines. Yeah, power plays dressed up as peace. Same old wolves with different teeth. But silence is loud when the house is burning. And the fuse is short, yeah, it's still learning. I don't dance for the left or the right. I stand in the heat, I stand in the fight. No strings, no chains, no manufactured choir. Just gasoline thoughts and an open lighter. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. The world's on tilt, pressure climbing. Truth don't whisper, it's perfect timing. You can't cancel the smoke, you can't stop flame. Say my name when it hits, say my name. Why? Say my name. Say my fire don't ask permission. Fire don't need a side. Fire just shows up honest and exposes the lie. This is and I'll bring the fire. Truth hits harder. Burn it down till what's real survives. No smoke, no mirrors, just heat and lies. And I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. American fire. Strike it. Let it speak.
Hello and welcome to American Fire. I am Ace. I'll be your host today. No, guys, we're back. Sound is back. Mic's back. It's time. The energy's back. No more NPR shows. No more low key. We're back at it. I can be myself again. I am unleashed again. Back home. Regular setup. Back to the old days. It's so good to be here. Comfortable in my chair. Not as good a view, gonna be honest. The lake view is much better, but that's all right. We're here, we're doing it. It's in, man. We're ready to go. So what a show we got today, man. Over the weekend, things are getting saucy. All kinds of signal coming out of the Trump White House. General Flynn also jumping in on it. What is happening here? It's getting very interesting. Patriots in control, all kinds of fantastic things to get excited about. Todd Blanche confirmed, people freaking out about it. That tells you all you need to know. Hunter Biden going on Tucker Carlson today. That tells you all you need to know. Midterm panic, all kinds of stuff. Iran collapsing. Man, what a show I have for you today. So, hope you're ready for it. Everybody jump in the chat, say what's going on. Let me see who's in here. Let me get some shout outs. And we're going to jump right into it because a loaded happy Monday to you all. All right, on the rums, we got Aloha Patriot and JXN Girl 001. holding down the chat over there. Not too many of them, and that's all right. Rumble, I see you. I appreciate you. I know the chat feature is not the best. X and Kick, I see you as well. I also cannot see your chats. I apologize for that, but Elon needs to fix it if he wants you guys to be noticed. Hair on the tubes, though. We got a big crowd today. Bobby Girl numero uno today. Golden Code, Francis Riley, Carnivore for Life, Gen X Maga, Dodbod Todd, DJ Fusion, Chalky, Demi Knock, Lindsay B, Ellen Hunt, Swamp Fuel. We're draining that swamp, buddy. Pat M, Tammy Anderson, Lil Rue, Jim Lorraine, Candid, Chicky Rogue, I Speak For You, Janice Bain, Lisa Doxy, Donna M, Frankie Fam, MFN Tango, Nick Majors, Blue Collar, Lerpticon, and many, many more. It is blowing up in this chat already. I love it. I appreciate you guys. I Speak For You with a $20 super chat, starting it off. It says, just because while I speak for you, I'm going to give you a heart just because. Thank you very much for the super chat and the support of the show. You guys are the best. All right, you guys know the rules. Everybody in the chat, please blow it up. I want the questions, comments. It's the best community on YouTube. You guys do a great job getting to know each other, putting out the great questions, putting out the great conversations. But we don't do trolls here. The moderators will kick the trolls. So don't be a dick. Be honorable, be respectful, treat others as you'd like to be treated, and do not present emotional arguments. We are a place trying to cut through the noise. You cannot get through the noise if you are being emotional. So don't bring it here. We're going to do the deeper work. And so jump in though. If you want to get my attention in between segments, please tag me so I can find it, or a super chat if you want to support the channel. And those are guaranteed to be read. All right. Please hit that like, that subscribe, and we're going to get into it. Let me make sure, haven't missed anybody early here. Man, lots of people already jumping in. That is awesome. That is awesome. So glad to see you guys. JX on Rumble says, welcome back. Looking forward to a great Monday. Been humming the theme song all weekend. I love it. That's awesome. Aloha says, football's back. Well, I mean, preseason. Preseason doesn't feel like it's back yet, but it's something. You know, every year I sit down, I watch like a quarter of a preseason game, and I remember why I don't watch them, because they're terrible. It's terrible. DJ says, I see the trailer for Run, Hide, Fight Infidels. I have not. I'll have to see if I can find that. Anything else here? All right, guys. Well, I got to present the news today as I'm seeing it. Break it down to you guys, show you what I believe is happening in the world, how Trump is fixing this nation, and as a result, greatly impacting the world in good ways. We are winning. That part I am 100% assured of. But we also got to get through all the interesting narratives and so on and so forth, because there's always something. There's always something. And we're going to start today with something very interesting that I noticed this weekend. And sorry if you guys are like, oh, conspiracies. You know what? Sometimes we got to look at even the odd stuff. So we're going to get that into this in a second here. But, well, actually, before we do, I've talked to you guys before about Q stuff, all that. And if you are a member, I did a deep dive on it all. That you can see in the members section. But I'll tell you what, the Q stuff is interesting, if nothing else, because it exposed a lot of information, and a lot of information that's been validated over the last few years. And so I always pay attention to it, because it is definitely not what many have painted it out to be. And this weekend, we had something very, very interesting happen. I see you, Sasha. All right. So this weekend, for those who haven't been paying attention, we got Donald Trump and General Flynn both posting about a storm. Interesting. For those who've been following the last few years, especially since the first term, there's been a rumor of a storm coming. Even Trump himself, standing with a bunch of military brass at a ball, said, "You guys know what this is?" to the reporters, and they said, "What?" And he said, "This is a calm before the storm," which added to the speculation. So we've all been waiting, many of us, for this storm. And it's believed that the storm is in reference to justice coming, the purging of the deep state, the eradication of the corruption in our upper levels of government intel agencies, et cetera, et cetera. And after all this time, learning that the deep state, the globalists, it's really the globalist City of London system that is the man behind the deep state, which we are all looking forward to seeing destroyed. Well, this happened this weekend. General Flynn, who's been a fixture in the movement, who I also have been very skeptical of lately because of some of his ties, he started by putting this out. And he said, "The storm has arrived. In the old days, one would ring the church bells warning of incoming storm. People from all around would understand what was happening. Right now, church bells across the country are ringing. Is anyone listening?" He says, "I believe some of you are." And then he ends with this: "When I say globalists are on the march and have a death grip on institutions, on America, I mean it. I speak about accountability all the time. I won't relent. Without accountability of those who committed the most egregious crimes of treason or conspiracy to overthrow our government placed in checkmate, the storm will not subside. In fact, will only grow in intensity. Warning, the storm is here." To which he placed this, which honestly looks like something out of Elden Ring, just to be honest with you. But in response to this, or seemingly, a few hours later, Donald Trump posted this: "Trump Aberdeen," and showed a growing storm over the course. Interesting timing. Does it mean anything? Who knows? But as usual, we look at the numbers. 4 hours and 9 minutes, Q409, which here's the post here, which said, "Correct exchange. Anons changed our mind. Private, public. We are listening. Highest priority. Have faith. There are no coincidences." Again, coincidental? Who knows? Strange? Yes, I would agree with that. But again, you have to pay attention to all this, because you know why? Some people just dismiss the Q stuff. They're like, "Oh, it definitely doesn't mean anything. It was a complete psyop." Maybe. But as somebody who's researched it myself, I've found too many things in the Q posts that turned out to be true and were the first time they were publicly revealed, all kinds of corruption. And the longer it goes on, the more accurate many of these posts seem to be. You guys can make the deduction on that yourself. But I'll tell you this: we only see through a glass darkly. And so we have to look closely. We have to look closely at whatever Trump's signaling to us. And I'll tell you that this weekend, the other thing we have to factor in here is that this was posted right after Todd Blanche was nominated, or not nominated, but confirmed as Attorney General. Now, Rubber Duck here, who follows the Q stuff frequently, says, "Boom, we're nearing the end of the script. Grassley confirms house is clean," in which he put a post up that his vacuum was broken. Trump got Brandon Carr at the FCC. All along, Carr confirmed Smith-Mundt Act ready to be restored. Interesting. Who controls the EBS? What's the chain of signal? Who controls the National Presidential Alert System? Why was the new system created? And this is the EBS, the Emergency Broadcast System. This is Brendan Carr, R.I.P. Beth, speaking out to Chuck Grassley's vacuum. Why would the FCC commissioner be reaching out to Chuck Grassley over his vacuum? Again, weird stuff, right? Weird stuff. So we take all that weird stuff and we look at what's actually happening. And then we try to make some sense of it all. Prosecution phase incoming? I'd add a question mark. Todd Blanche confirmed as Attorney General. He's no longer acting. It's important because he can now be called to testify before Congress in coordination with Republicans to give evidence that can be submitted on the record for American people to see. Submitted evidence can also be used for future prosecutions. You can't tell the people, you have to show them. Understand the strategy and the order of what's happening. Everything's planned in time. Why did Trump first choose Bondi? It wasn't just because he knows her and has a personal relationship. Bondi was Florida AG all through the time Sessions served as Attorney General for Trump. Anyone remember what Sessions did? He launched not one, but 2 secret investigations using special prosecutors assisting Inspector General Horowitz. First one was Huber, revealed in congressional testimony after he'd already been investigated for many months. He was investigating many conspiracies involving Clinton's and Obama admin's corruption. Huber handed off some of those to Durham, who was also in the public realm, appointed by Barr to look into framing of Trump for Russian collusion. Everyone assumes both these special prosecutors are no longer serving. That's a mistake. I believe they've been assisting under secret prosecutor as Sessions appointed. Maybe, who knows? But is it possible? Why Florida? Trump lives in Mar-a-Lago and keep up to date on the investigations. Also helped keep the investigations under radar through his first term while Biden was president. This is true. We know the grand juries are in Florida. There's all kinds of stuff going on in Florida. They keep pushing as many cases as they can down there, including the RICO conspiracy cases with Crossfire Hurricane and election fraud. Bondi was the AG at the time, so Quinones could also keep her up to speed on investigations. That would prepare her appointment as Attorney General. Quinones was assistant attorney in Florida in 2018 before Sessions resigned. Is that a coincidence? Before that, he was a national security official in the DOJ's National Security Division, and that's where he could be gathering evidence on ongoing investigations. By the way, with all this going on, we also just got Jay Clayton in at ODNI, who has more evidence and experience investigating Epstein and Epstein's financial ties than anyone else. And he's now our ODNI. Coincidence? I don't know. You guys decide. He's also an active member of Judge Advocates General Corps as a colonel in the U.S. Air Force Reserve. So he's a bridge between civilian and military investigations. This would confirm or at least suggest the truth being that the military is going to be a big part of this. Here's something about Jason Quinones. He currently serves as Senior Reserve Legal Advisor to Staff Judge Advocate at U.S. CENTCOM, providing counsel on national security, combat operations, and intelligence matters. So could Quinones be a part of it? I don't know, guys, but isn't it interesting how all this is kind of, they're all being put into position here? So Blanche confirmed early Saturday morning. And the freak out is real. So again, throw out all the speculation we just did. Okay? Let's just throw all that out. The storm, the everything Joe Lang just put all those ties together, Bondi, Florida. Let's throw all that out, shall we? For now. And let's just look at what's going on here. Todd Blanche came in April. Ever since then, things have been taking off. SPLC, Kash Patel's been making all kinds of arrests. By the way, Kash Patel serves under the DOJ, so Todd Blanche technically his boss, and so on and so forth. It's been lots of declassifying, lots of arrests, smaller arrests. I know not the big names, but yet it's happening. Todd Blanche accelerating, and they fought him tooth and nail from being confirmed. He got confirmed by 1 vote. Bill Cassidy flipped at the last second. Trump got rhinos, Tillis, Cornyn, and Cassidy to flip behind the scenes. They were fighting him, but he got through by 1 vote. And the panic has already started. Barb McQuaid, NBC. With Blanche's confirmation, the Senate has surrendered the rule of law. Oh, does that sound like somebody who's afraid? Chuck Todd, former NBC, as what did Rush used to call Chuck Todd? Sergeant Todd, I think it was, or Sergeant Chuck. But here's Chuck Todd, analyst, deep state, MSMer. He's freaking out over Todd Blanche getting confirmed.
I'm sure Blanche has super thick skin. This is by no means an indictment of his abilities. I'm sure he's got tremendous abilities. But the precedent of confirming a president's personal criminal defense lawyer, essentially, who it is not clear who the client is not you and me. I do not think he understands the distinction between being the lawyer for the Donald John Trump and the lawyer for the people. Anyway, as for Bill Cassidy, I'm not done. He's got to sleep at night. He's got to live with the fact that he was essentially the guy that got Robert F. Kennedy Jr. confirmed, and now he's the guy that got Todd Blanche confirmed. That's quite a way to end your Senate career. That's his decision. Again, I know the reality that they live in. I have empathy personally. These people are terrible. The Trump goons come after anybody that stands in their way. And goons is the way to call them. I understand the incoming that they're receiving. And they just want to go into retirement. And they're in their 60s and 70s. And they don't want to do this. It's exhausting. And then after they leave, they will tell us how terrible it is and how awful everybody. But at the end of the day, they didn't have the guts to do this when it mattered.
You know, one of the biggest psyops they keep pushing out is that the DOJ is supposed to be independent. No, it's not. The DOJ is not independent. The DOJ is a part of the executive branch, which means the DOJ, the Attorney General, serve at the whim, the pleasure of the president. That's the truth. And so, but they keep pushing this psyop because they don't want you to believe that the president, unless it's their guy, unless it's Obama or Biden or Clinton, they don't want you to believe that the president's in charge of justice in our nation, which is exactly how the founding fathers saw it to be. And so the president is in charge, and that's the fact. But again, this is the only narrative they have. Oh, they got a whipping boy for Trump. But what does that ultimately mean? It means they're scared because they wanted one of theirs in there. That's what they mean by independent. Get a deep state or globalist in there. Then you know it's separate from Trump. We didn't hear this with Merrick Garland. We didn't hear this with what's his face in the Obama administration. They did, Eric Holder. They didn't care about independence at that point, but they care when he's not one of them, when they know Trump is doing something differently. And Todd, you could see it. Chuck Todd here is just exasperated. He's just exasperated. He's trying to be his media mind. He's playing a part where he's trying to be like kind of middle of the road. But you can see everything he says, just that whole narrative being touted again. Washington Post also, Todd Blanche faces competing pressures from a president intent on seeing his enemies put on trial, a federal judiciary increasingly skeptical of those efforts, and a Congress harboring growing doubts about Blanche's ability to say no. Really? Except he got through. And then he won. Says Blanche's confirmation fight was tough. Being Trump's AG might be tougher. Really? You think so? I don't think so. I think he's full on in now. Here's the New Yorker magazine. Blanche has been running the Justice Department's day-to-day operations as acting attorney general since Bondi left. Department's performance has been nothing short of disastrous since he took the reins, Ruth Marcus writes. They're hitting him at every angle, trying to take him down. This is what they always do with those they see as the biggest threats. They've tried to take out Kash Patel multiple times. He's too big a partier. He's using the funds illegally. They tried to take out Bondi. And maybe even successfully did so. They tried to take out Hegseth, and that one keeps coming around. In fact, they just psyoped Hegseth a week ago. Trump and Hegseth are fighting. No, they aren't. None of this is true, but those are the most important areas. The military, the Justice Department, they're terrified because this is advancing. And that's what they're worried about. The symbolism of his appointment to the top job represents a ratification of what's happened on his watch. In weighing whether Blanche should become the nation's chief law enforcement officer, senators knew what they were getting, or more precisely, what they were being asked to swallow. Yeah, we got screwed because this guy is going to take us down. Now, interestingly enough, Trump is making other moves in his administration. J.D. Vance posted this out. Congratulations, Dave and Will. Dave's a true asset to the president over the last several years, served his role with highest integrity. Will is whip smart, will serve the president well as counsel. Here's what Trump posted about who's coming in. It's my great honor to announce that effective September 1st, Will Scharf will become assistant to the president and White House counsel, replacing David Washington. Will's done an amazing job in his current role as White House staff secretary. He's also served as chairman of National Capital Planning Commission. I know him well. He previously represented me in numerous cases. Key right there. Represent me in numerous cases. Trump is bringing in another one of his lawyers into a prominent role. He previously served as a federal prosecutor as well. Interesting. Clerk for 2 federal appeals court justices with top student in Princeton, Harvard. Will's tough, strong, and smart, serves our country, respects the law. Interesting. Bringing him in as counsel, giving him a promotion. His man who understands the legal system from the federal side very well, having played all these different roles, prosecutor and defense attorney. Interesting. Clerk for 2 federal appeals court judges. You think this guy knows exactly how the system works? Why is Trump moving all this around at the same time? In 1 week, Jay Clayton, ODNI, Todd Blanche, AG, and now we're seeing these smaller moves happen as well. The tell is in what their experience is. Trump is building his legal team right before the midterms. Interesting. Very interesting. Is this why? Are we getting into deeper, bigger things? Here's John Solomon recently on Bongino's show last Friday, and listen to what he had to say.
Now we have a bunch of lazy senators who want to threaten the filibuster and not get off their feet and talk and really represent the people and stand for what they believe in. And all the American people are asking John Thune to do is to restore the Senate to the way it used to work before Mitch McConnell's lazy filibuster ideas kind of came into play. And I think that the American people are going to be there. Here's what I think is going to happen, Dan. And I think you probably know some of this because you had a foresight into some of the things that the Bureau now knows that was kept from the American public. I think Donald Trump is going to change the narrative in America. I think he's going to change some senators' minds, and he's going to do it by revealing some of the things that Chris Wray and that the Chris Krebs and other major officials who were in charge of the integrity of our elections and who told us it was a perfect election in 2020. He's going to start revealing some of the intelligence that was kept from the American people. And we're going to see that our foreign adversaries have monkeyed with our system more than we knew, more than those driver's licenses coming into Chicago that you helped get all of us to understand about a few months ago, about China sending fake driver's licenses to help Joe Biden in. There are going to be significant efforts by foreign powers, some friends, some enemies, that were trying to meddle in the system, and they got pretty far down that path. And I think when senators realized their state could have been targeted, when senators realized that the intention of the identities of some of their voters might have been assumed, I think there's going to be a different debate in America. And I think if the president takes the time to educate people and show them that maybe the stories we got from the last leadership weren't true, I think he's going to pick off the votes. And then the American people are going to put some pressure on John Thune, and they're going to surgically implant a stiff back, and he's going to change that filibuster for this particular thing, make it a standing filibuster, make the Democrats talk till they drop, and then we'll get a vote in the summer. But I think there's some big, significant, and very troubling revelations about the vulnerabilities of our elections that the president is about to unveil on the American public.
So we're going to get more on the election stuff, and Solomon believes it's going to be enough to impact the senators' votes and maybe even push Thune to the edge. Now, Thune has already said that we might get some of the SAVE Act through the reconciliation bill. That is something he's not said before. It seems like the pressure campaign is continuing to work on Thune. Observing Consciousness writes this: Moab incoming. I think Trump's going to change the narrative of America. I think he's going to change some senators' minds. He's going to start revealing some of the intel that was kept from the American people. We're going to see our foreign adversaries have monkeyed around with our election. This was already started with the China drop. I think when senators realize their state could have been targeted, it's going to be a different debate. What did we just find out last week? 630,000 voter registrations hacked in Maricopa County. That was last week. You see, it is ramping up. I think there's some big, significant, troubling revelation about vulnerabilities of our elections Trump's about to unveil. I believe so. So as Trump's ramping all this up, pushing for the SAVE Act, midterms coming up, after the midterms, see, we win the midterms, even if we lose the midterms, which we won't. The House is the only 50-50. Senate's going to be good. Even if they squeak it out, which I doubt, at this point, I'm very doubtful, and we'll talk about that in another segment. But the point is afterwards, Trump now has no more elections that he has to worry about, because after 28, as he's in his final year heading into 29, the election year of 28, Trump's no longer on the ticket. The Republican Party is moving on to whoever Trump ordains to be next. Rubio, Vance, maybe DeSantis, maybe somebody we haven't seen yet. I don't know. But the point is that Trump no longer is on the ticket, and the people are going to be the people in the middle who might hate Trump, might be skeptical of him, might not like his personality. All of a sudden, they're more open. Trump now can go all out because the next people can distance themselves from him for an election if they need to. After the midterms, Trump is completely free politically to do whatever he needs to do. And you can see it all kind of lining up. Do we get the SAVE Act passed before the midterms? Probably not, as the Senate just stepped out for a 3-week vacation, 6-week vacation. I get different, there's different reports on how long it is. I think it's 6 weeks. 6-week vacation. They're not going to get it passed in time for the midterms. But afterwards, the pressure's gone. They get it all solved for 28. Trump is going all out to protect the midterms this time around in different ways. Remember, we won 24 without a SAVE Act. It's possible. But the point is many pieces are coming into play right now so that Trump can accelerate. And that's going to be interesting how he plays it. Now, Trump has been doing a lot already, even though most of it is behind the scenes or people aren't reporting on it, including the 26 murder rate will be by far the lowest recorded. Now, how insane is that? See, Trump is the president of justice. It's spreading throughout our land. He is getting it done. It was about setting it up to move up. Listen, you don't take out the foot soldiers if you don't touch that, or if you leave them alone and you start going after the big guys. What could happen? They can be activated. Riots, protests, terror attacks, you name it. You take out the foot soldiers, you cut off their funding, which Bessent's been doing for the last 18 months. You significantly weaken them when you finally do start going after the bigger fish, which I believe Trump's been building up to. Kash Patel has been doing it as well. Here's Kash on some of the latest statistics coming out of the FBI.
Last year, we saw a 20% reduction in opioid deaths in America. That's a huge reduction. And that's not by accident. When I went there 10 months ago, I said, look, the fentanyl precursors are a big problem. They are being sold to the Mexican drug cartels who are making and manufacturing this drug at a lethal and addictive level because of these rare compounds and components that are only sourced from certain areas of the world. I said, the folks in China need to list them, essentially making them an illegal item to ship overseas. And they did that. They went out and listed 17 of them. And this summer, they're going to list, I think, 24 more. But to generally talk about its impact, besides the reduction in opioid deaths in America, we look at the intel reporting from the drug traffickers, the DTOs down south, right? Mm-hmm. And without getting into all the classified information, what we do see generally is the following. They're complaining that they can't get the fentanyl precursors they need to make the fentanyl the way they used to make it. They're complaining that it is no longer as addictive as they want it to be, and they're complaining that the lethality is not at the rate they would want it to be when they manufacture it.
So taking out the deep state's ability to kill us and weaken us, taking away their ability to make money off of getting us addicted to substances by this cartel attacks. Again, this all plays into all the justice angle. The deep state is suffering because of what Trump's doing. This has all been a big part of it. As Kash writes here, 300 criminals arrested, 300 million seized from the criminal networks, thousands of human trafficking victims freed, 9 fentanyl traffickers arrested, 17 fentanyl precursors listed, 22% decrease in deaths, 20% decrease in all opioid deaths, 2 chemical production facilities sent down, 3 illicit websites dismantled, 16 child predators arrested. And this is just the latest in a law enforcement tie. Look at this. with China and Russia. You can't make this stuff up. This is all cracking down on all the ways the deep state has been hurting our people for a very long time now. This morning, the State Department just announced it's yanked 175,000 visas under Trump administration so far. That's legal visas, folks. For all those like, oh, he's not doing anything on deportations. No, we're doing everything legally in our capabilities, the Trump administration is, to free up the people again, get our country back. And with all that, this is all happening before the major ramp up going after deep state actors that might be big names, which we'll eventually find out. You wonder why Congress and the media are freaking out over Todd Blanche coming in? This was already happening before that. This has already been happening. Here's the latest on the fraud crackdowns from J.D. Vance.
I'm curious why you would need legislation to force Democrats to combat fraud. I would think they would willingly turn this information over to you.
You know, you would think so, Kayleigh, but unfortunately, too much of the Democratic Party boss runs on the money that comes from fraud. The NGO network, the political parties, some of the nonprofit organizations in these blue states, they actually depend on the fraud to fund their operations. And to explain this a little bit to the American people, Kayleigh, the craziest thing, I mean, I was literally shocked by this the first time that I realized that when we send, for example, $8 billion to the state of California to run their food stamp program, they don't even verify eligibility. You could have illegal aliens on that program. We have no sense at the federal government. We send them $8 billion. It goes out the door, and we have no way of confirming whether the state of California is actually spending that on needy Americans because, of course, we want to help people who can't afford a bite to eat. But the program is not there for illegal aliens. It's not there for fraudsters. And what California and so many blue states have done is really turn down the eligibility requirements, turn down the verification requirements, and we unfortunately are just going to have to force them into some basic stuff. Things like checking when somebody signs up for food stamps. Are they in this country legally? Do they actually have proper photo identification? Have they committed a terrible felony in the last couple of years? Basic eligibility checks that so many blue states are not doing. So we're going to have to force them to do that. And that's one of the things we've talked about with our congressional colleagues is just forcing some of these blue states to share the data. I will say, Kayleigh, in the defense of some blue states, some Democrats have been willing to work with us because they recognize that fighting fraud should be a bipartisan issue. Unfortunately, you've got the Californias and the New Yorks of the world who seem to want their states to be defrauded by the fraudsters, but we can't let that happen. It's gone on for too long, and the president has asked us to stop it. We're finally taking it seriously.
The fraud, that being cleaned up, that's $230 billion. And as JD said, NGO network, political parties, some of the nonprofits in these blue states depend on the fraud to fund their operations. This is cleaning up the economic part of it all. This is why Scott Bessent was so important that when Trump got him in. See, Trump understands the economy very well, but Scott Bessent is an economic assassin, worked with George Soros to manipulate currencies, crash markets, make a ton of money off of it. He learned from the evil one. And I don't know at which point Scott turned, but I believe he fully has. Trump brought him in. And now what's happening? All of this, whether it's Iran or here in America, we're cleaning up and stopping the globalist funding. The deep state funding to all their operations all over the world and home. $230 billion gone. That's $250 billion. You know how much that accomplishes? But now it's taken away from them. This is huge. This is why it might be time to finally ramp things up, because they might be choking now. They're running on fumes, and that's when you can deliver the hammer. And then we got this news. With all this going on, Alito announces he's staying in. He's not retiring. He's going to stay for another term. So it looks like we'll see him at least for a couple more years, maybe several. This signals that he probably believes Republicans are winning going forward and wants to be a part of the Supreme Court as Trump's getting a lot more done. If Trump ramps this up, there's going to be a whole lot more cases going before the Supreme Court. He is our second greatest justice after Clarence Thomas. We can't lose him. But remember when they tried to take him out a couple months ago? Alito's retiring. They dropped that nonsense all over the internet. The NPR reporter, 85-year-old NPR reporter, hardcore lib who covers the Supreme Court, dropped that it was rumored that Alito was retiring at the end of all this, scaring us all. Are they trying to scare him off? Trying to set the stage? See, there is so much going on behind the scenes, folks. There's so many war games being played, intelligence games being played. And it's, I saw it immediately and knew it was fake, but now we get the official Alito's come out and declared he's staying. Right as Blanche is confirmed, right as Trump is posting about storms and all kinds of other stuff, right before the midterms, right as Iran's collapsing. None of this is coincidence. I think all the white hats are starting to hunker down, get in position, because it's about to get wild, in my opinion. Again, is this really the beginning of the storm? Well, I can tell you, the storm of justice that we've all been waiting for on a larger scale, it sure seems like the setup is now perfect. The lower people, their minions, their pawns are defunded and or arrested, and that's spreading. The flow of illegal immigration completely stopped, and ICE now fully funded, getting them all out of here. The deep state collapsing economically in Iran, Europe, etc., etc. We're working with China and Russia on several operations, as was just confirmed. And then you got the midterms right around the corner, and we have the war chest, they don't. I'm telling you, folks, it sure seems like everything is lined up. And so maybe, just maybe, General Flynn is actually right this time. And maybe there is a storm that's really arriving. But we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. I can tell you, though, I've never seen better timing for it than would be over the next few months. But that's just me. All right, hit that like and subscribe, folks. We got a lot more coming up, including a whole bunch of midterm updates where Democrat panic is at an all-time high, which should make you all very, very happy. So we'll get into it in a second, but first let me stop for a minute, get into the chat. Make sure I don't miss any of your guys' tagged comments, anything directed towards me, so I can catch up real quick. Aberdeen is his golf course in Scotland. You see the storm over it. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Just look at Chuck Todd. He's definitely started smoking weed. he's probably on some hardcore like SSRIs or something. That's what these guys love. They love their pills, man. Matt Cloud says, bro, I've been wondering what happened to Durham. That's so crazy. Durham, remember when Durham did his investigation and released the results, there was a lot of disappointment because he was under the Biden administration at that point. And so he didn't bring a lot of indictments, and there was a lot of disappointment over that. But as soon as Trump come in, remember they mysteriously found burn bags full of Durham's files? That's interesting. And now they've been going through those for the last year. Yeah, I think there's a lot more coming from Durham's investigation that we haven't heard of yet. A lot of people fighting over DeSantis. I'll tell you, DeSantis has done a great job in Florida, but I can't fully trust him until Trump gives the go-ahead, because he did betray Trump in the primaries. And he got, the one thing he did accomplish, though, he got a bunch of people to expose themselves. Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, people we didn't trust maybe all the way anyways, but he got a bunch of conservatives, especially in the media, to jump the Trump ship and show us who they really were. So, at least he accomplished that. Did I see Trump's post about Greece and how Trump's win is affecting other countries now with immigration control? No, I didn't. That's interesting. Well, this stuff does spread. See, the people see what's effective here. Somebody, when you're under years and years and years of controlled, managed decline, okay, as Trump exemplifies here, the two different Americas. When you're under years and years and years of managed decline, it becomes a spell. It's like the frogs in boiling water, slow boiling water. And so even countries that might be better and might not want to fully be globalist and ruin their people, they can get sucked into stuff. And the people definitely get sucked in and start, their comfort becomes number one over their freedoms. And then the spell's broken when you see another country fighting back, when you see another country shifting quickly. That's what Trump's doing here. And that's going to wake up a lot of countries in a lot of areas. It just takes time. It just takes time. Let's see here. We're going to talk about Byron Donalds a little bit in this next segment. Hermit says, y'all be glad to know I've rather successfully red-pilled my sister-in-law over the summer. Slowly and surely, she gets stuck in doomer mindset, but I continue to encourage her. Excellent. Excellent. Red pilling, white pilling, great stuff. Excellent. What about the no new wars thing being brought up? It was never no new wars. It was no new stupid wars and no new forever wars. You can never say no new wars because you have to always be willing and able to defend yourselves. And that means war sometimes has to happen in order for the betterment of the people. It's just a fact. So I see Trump's post about Greece. Oh, I just mentioned that. I just talked to that. Okay. All right, guys. Let's get into it. Again, if you want, during this segment, if you got questions, comments for me, please tag me. Or I'm a viewer supported channel. If you want to support the channel, you can always send a super chat and those will be guaranteed to be read or answered. Thank you for your attention to this matter. We have a lot to get into though over the midterms because guys, I don't know if you know it. We're less than 3 months away at this point. It is coming fast and things are going to ramp up and there's going to be a major push for exposure because of these crazy DSA commies that are rising up. So, real quick, DJ asks, there's no way to pass the SAVE Act when they come back from recess. No, they could pass it. It won't be implemented in time for the midterms, most likely, unless they do it really quickly. So that's how it works. Okay, Trump posted this weekend, and it tells you that they are using El-Sayed now is going to be the face of the Democratic Party for the Republicans. He is going to be who they use to paint the picture of who the Democrats are. The Republicans, I should say, Trump especially, they are stoked that this guy won his primary in Michigan because he is it's a stark contrast to what most Americans want. And Trump posted this weekend two very different Americas. Donald J. Trump in his dashing tuxedo with his beautiful wife versus Abdul Rahman Muhammad El-Sayed. You notice how he put the full name in there? Sitting with his wife in a burqa. This is the contrast right here. It's very clear what Trump's doing here. Do you want this Islamist Sharia law toting communism type candidate America, or do you want traditional business, successful kind of American dream America? I mean, there's a lot going on here in the picture. And I got to tell you that the vast majority of Americans, when they see this picture, will lean towards the left immediately. Lead towards Trump's picture immediately. 65, 70% of Americans, if they just pick this, remove the Trump aspect of it and just think of this picture versus that. And I don't think it's hard to tell. This is why Trump, again, is a marketing genius. This is how you appeal to the emotional side of Americans and which oftentimes is the way to wake them up. Now, Trump posted this today. Trump black and brown voters don't want communism or socialism. Not surprisingly, they're flocking to the Republican Party. They remember Lincoln was a Republican. Facts check true. And also fact check true. Do you know that Syed got in because of wealthy, affluent, suburban women? That's the vast majority of who votes for these communists. The people with degrees, the people from wealthy families who then went out into America and realized, oh, you have to work? It's not easy to make money? Fine, I'll vote socialist. That's what my commie professor told me to do anyways. They are the result of all these years of indoctrination in the college system. And then since they haven't worked since they were kids, or I should say teenagers, they didn't have to. They were, silver spoon fed their whole lives. They realize life is actually difficult and it's tough. And we want a big mommy government to take care of us. That's who votes for these people, not, interestingly enough, the lower class. That's very interesting. And Trump's absolutely right about that when he throws this out there, which is also something the Democrats know this. And they don't like that he's calling it out because it's drawing attention to some and making people look it up. Once you expose who the Democrats really are, it falls apart quickly. Well, again, Syed is who they're really going after, and for good reason. Mike Steger posts this. He's saying the U.S. is an evil country. We have to take it over, and they're trying to stop us because we're evil. Here's Syed in his own words from not that long ago at the CARE convention. CARE is one of the most radical Islamic organizations there is out there. Listen to this.
Bismillah wa salatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Question 755. When the state of Oklahoma voted in a referendum to amend the Constitution to ban Sharia law, what does that mean? I don't know. And yet the voters banned it anyway. And I don't have to tell you that the same exact forces that drove native peoples from their land 2 centuries ago, destroyed Black Wall Street a century ago, bombed a building decades ago, and tried to ban Sharia law not a decade ago, that those forces are alive and well today. Bismillah.
Such a terrible thing to ban Sharia law, isn't it? I would not say so. It says right here, this is unbelievable. I thought it was AI. Abdullah Sayed advocates for Sharia law in the U.S. He argues that U.S. banned Sharia because of hate and discrimination. Forces that banned are the same forces that committed historic evils. This is political propaganda. It is. Now, obviously, in the clip, he doesn't outright say, I want Sharia law, but he's making it a bad thing that it was banned. This is the kind of clips you can post everywhere and that the Republicans can use against him, which is why they're stoked that this guy's their candidate, because he's sloppy and he's got a past. Here's Brandon Gill, the great new representative, sharing this guy's going to spend the next 3 months telling Michiganders that he's running to make their lives more affordable. But what he really wants to do is import a zillion more foreigners so he can build a Leering Center near you. Here's on tape saying, I hate Mackinac so much. One of the whiter.
Please watch your step.
I hate Mackinac so much. It's funny because, if we win, this is going to be the, summer home. I'm just going to be every time I've ever come here, I've hated it. Why am I here?
I hate it so much. It's kind of an awful thing to say about a town in the state you're fighting to represent. Funny stuff, though, isn't it? He goes on to say both of these multimillionaires can afford a weekend on Mackinac. I thought you hated it. How about you and your family? He's calling out Kid Rock. You really want to go to war against Kid Rock? But as Spencer Pratt points out, Abdullah Sayed is, he's pulling the Bernie Sanders because he owns 3 homes around the world. Literally, all these commies are scammers LARPing as victims of capitalism because they think you're dumb. It's true. Just like Bernie Sanders, who is oh, go against the billionaires, when he has multi-million-dollar homes all across America as well. This seems to be a trend with these people. But with all this, which is not good, and again, this guy can be the new face of the Democratic Party, none of this is as bad as his ties to Hassan Piker, who now people are looking into more and realizing this man is insane. Zero Hedge, doing a story on Piker, quotes him, "We're here to destroy the white race. DSA hero declares war on West." This is Piker, who he was partying with. Abdul Sayed was partying with the night before his primary election. They are close. More and more comes out about Piker every day. Is not good. And by the way, this dummy was dumb enough to stream this stuff.
We're going to keep bringing in immigrants in this country on purpose, just so they can fuck your sister and then maybe even your daughter. We're going to destroy the white race, bitch. That's what we're here to do.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. This is who these people are. Now, instead of freaking out and getting scared about all this, we should actually be celebrating this is starting to come out, because there's no way Americans stand for this. This will be fought back hard. This is why the Trump administration is doubling down, calling out the communists over and over and over again, because America won't accept it. 70-80% of Americans would hear this and be horrified, maybe even more. This is not okay. And the Democratic Party knows this is a big, big problem for them. They're trying to distance themselves from him. Here's Hassan Piker, or NBC, challenging Abdul Sayed on being close to Hassan Piker.
You know, you face scrutiny for campaigning with socialist streamer Hassan Piker, who has made a series of inflammatory comments, as you well know, including saying America deserved 9/11, describing Hamas as a lesser evil than Israel. Do you plan to continue to campaign with Hassan Piker in the general election campaign?
Look, I'm less concerned now with who I'm campaigning with, a lot more concerned about who I'm campaigning to. We got a lot of work to do to continue to build the coalition that's going to beat Mike Rogers.
Would you welcome him, though? On the campaign trail with
like
you?
I said, I'm a lot more focused on who I'm campaigning to.
Deflect,
I think we
deflect.
have this notion sometimes on shows like this that we cannot or should not talk to certain groups of people. And I'll tell you that the 3 million people who listen to Hassan are people I want to make sure understand that there's a pathway into our politics around getting money out of politics so we can keep money back in pockets and pass Medicare for all. And so I'm going to continue to have the conversations with those folks who we desperately need to reach out to, just like I'm going to continue to have conversations with seniors in senior homes, folks up north, folks in Detroit, folks in Grand Rapids. So again, I'm a lot more focused on who I'm campaigning to rather than who.
You see how even the media is going to be tough on him? You know why? Because Democrats know if this guy wins, it's really, really bad for them. They do not. This stuff's supposed to be talked about in secret. You know, secretly, they all love Hassan Piker. But in public, you're not supposed to say those things because you can't win elections that way. But it's too late. Left-wing media trying to help him distance himself from Hassan Piker. Too late. He refuses to publicly disavow him because these people are proud of their beliefs. The DSA guys are very embracing of it. And that's not good for them. In fact, the more and more we find out about all of this, it just gets worse. Tallarico, who's the other crazy. They got rid of the one in Maine. They couldn't get rid of him in Texas. And now they've got a new one in Michigan. And it's really bad for him. Tallarico surfacing, he criticized Cristo, he's supposed to be a Christian, Christo-fascism, and resurfaced audio from 2023. Folks, all this is starting to come out, and they haven't even started spending that money yet. The $800 million war chest that Trump has, plus the $100 million that Elon's going to add in, and the other $100 million that the RNC has. It is big trouble for the Democrats moving forward as these people get more and more exposed. But the problem is they let too many of the crazies in. Here's David Hogg fighting back against the establishment Democrats, telling them they're the crazy ones. You don't deserve to be in this party anymore.
there's been an argument that they need to moderate or concern over what that's going to look like should they succeed, or that they may not succeed, that they might be defeated by Republicans despite them not doing well in the polling either. What would you say to the moderates in your party who feel that way?
I would say to the moderates in our party, you need to figure out how to actually offer something new to voters that isn't just the same message that you gave them in 2024. Increasingly, the reason why the establishment of our party is being defeated over and over and over again is it's because they don't have the right values that are aligned with not just the Democratic base, but the American people, where people are sick and tired of listening to Democrats who tell them all the reasons why they can't solve their problems. If you can't solve our problems, you shouldn't be running for office. We need people who actually sound at a minimum and genuinely believe what they are saying.
This guy was co-chair of the DNC, and then they ran him out. Why? Because they know they cannot win with these people. When he says moderates, he means the establishment Democrats. He means the Democrats who control the party, who have rather successfully driven America into the ditch, who have given socialist policies a paint of moderatism on them so that the American people would accept them and they could win elections. And then they rule as hardcore leftists, just like the Biden administration did, just like Obama did. But you lie to the people to get in. The problem is these young up-and-comers who are now taking over the party do not understand that. And it's got James Carville, who has been freaking out now for weeks, freaking out even more. I'm enjoying the James Carville freakouts as much as anybody. I hope you guys are too. Here's more. Here's more.
The blacks don't buy your shit.
No. By the way, they're not voting for any of these DSA candidates. Neither are the Latinos.
Is screw the blacks out of the nominating process because they know they can't win South Carolina. Black folks, or listen to me very carefully, are the most loyal part of the entire Democratic coalition. If you disrespect them, they know it.
This is Carville freaking out that they're losing the black vote. Just like, oh yeah, Trump told us earlier that the minorities are going to start coming over to the Republican Party because the veneer is the gloss of the Democrats. The lies are being uncovered. And Carville's freaking out about this because if they lose even 10% of the black vote, they are screwed for many elections going forward.
In a Democratic Party can never show any distance between itself and black voters. And it gets to the point that the progressive want to disrespect people. They're going to understand that, and you're going to lose a constituency that has stuck with you for the last 70 years.
And the black voters have not been voting for these DSA candidates. They're doing terrible. The entire working class is not voting for them. You know, it's a bunch of rich, snotty, educated white kids.
They don't talk the talk. I want somebody that walks the walk. I want somebody that's walked the walk. I'll tell you who it could be for the second, Mitch Landrieu. You know why? Because he walked the walk. He took the goddamn monuments down to stand that. All right? Don't tell me what you're going to do for me. Tell me what you did. Tell me about the blood you shed. That's what I want to know. And that's why they're never Hassan Pike. Okay? They're never going to pay attention to this shit because all they do is talk the talk. None of them ever walk the walk.
Yeah. Carville's as lefty as it gets, but he knows how to win elections. He's smart. There's not many smart people left in the Democratic Party. I'm just being honest with you. Carville's one of them. He's one of them, but because he's old and white, they have pushed him to the side. We don't listen to you anymore. Even though he's the guy who got Clinton a win, with some help from Ross Perot, obviously, taking votes away from Bush. But regardless, he got Clinton 2 wins. This guy knows how to win elections. He helped Obama get up there. This guy knows, he understands Americans and how to lie to them. And he knows right now they are in big trouble as he's making the rounds everywhere, including Fox News, to freak out about this.
Or anything bigger than mouth.
Well, they should take in, really your wisdom on how to win in Democratic politics. You did get Bill Clinton across the finish line after all. On that note, you say you're a political animal. You just want to win races. There is a race Tuesday.
Right.
Francesca Hong has a huge lead. Here's Francesca Hong.
This is tomorrow. Francesca Hong in Wisconsin, another hardcore DSA socialist commie. And look at his face when she brings him up or brings her up. Carville is disgusted. And Kayleigh McEnany said, right, you would care about winning elections. Carville does. He knows he's watching his party that he helped build, that he helped get to this point. He's watching it fall apart as it goes into civil war and eats its own. You see what it says on the title right here? Bernie Sanders tells Carville to start his own party if he doesn't like Hasan Piker. What does that say? That means Bernie Sanders is kicking James Carville to the curb, saying, this ain't your party anymore. And Carville is pissed because Carville knows, he's like, I built this party, mother effer. To quote Al Pacino in Heat, lots of mother effers in that movie. But he's saying, I built this party. It's me. I'm the guy who created the election strategies to get us this far. And now they're kicking me out. I'm telling you guys, this is self-combustion. Listen to this.
Thanksgiving is also a time that's incredibly painful for many people in our communities. And so I think I wanted to make sure that people understood that there are multiple views, but views can evolve.
I mean, James, she says Thanksgiving is now her favorite holiday, but I imagine you don't like that as a political operative, that quote.
Look, I think that the progressive left, they're very tech people. I think they've come up with an AI random stupid idea generator. And I think the stupid idea generator can think of things that humans can't, like canceling Thanksgiving or being against interracial dating. So I'm just waiting to the next stupid idea AI generator that comes out, spits out of that. It'll probably go through the humanities faculty at the University of Wisconsin before it actually gets put in a candidate's hand.
You get to the point where you just say, screw it. You're just in screw it mode. That's where Carville's getting to right now because it's getting so bad. He's just saying, oh my God, I'm done. I can't help these people. They don't want my help. And as of course, Cenk Uygur, the uncle of Hasan Piker, the reason we're stuck with where we have to deal with Hasan Piker, I should say, he came out this weekend to go after Carville. Is there anyone doing more damage to the Democratic brand right now than Carville? Wow. Is anyone doing more damage to the Democrats than Carville? That's hilarious. These people are taking over. They're taking over, and this could not be better timing for us. It's at the point now where there are people who believe that Trump planted this DSA people. He planted them to make the Democrats fall apart. That's how bad it's getting for the Democrats. Says he's out there on every network screaming like a banshee about how extreme Democrats are. He's purposely emphasizing irrelevant policy positions almost no Democrat believes in. There it is. There's the truth right there. Cenk is telling us the truth. Policy positions almost no Democrat believes in, like moderation, like some capitalism, stuff that actual moderate Democrats lie to our faces that they believe in. And Cenk saying, we actually don't believe in any of that. Thanks for being honest, Cenk. By doing that, he's helping corporate media smear all Democrats by pretending they hold these extreme positions. Smear all Democrats. Smear the commies. Cenk is mad because this is his revolution. This is what they wanted this whole time. Says why? Because he's bitter. The pro-corporate, pro-Israel wing of the party isn't getting its way. See, they never cared about the party or the voters. All they wanted was power for themselves and their donors. The donors don't get their way. They send people like Carville out there to burn everything to the ground. That way the Republicans win. The donors get exactly what they want. The donors. The donors are the people paying the deep state checks that are cashing. See, it was always meant that these people, the hardcore ones, the true believers that actually come out and are honest about who they are, Cenk, Hasan Piker, Abdullah Sayed, Mamdani, they were always supposed to just be, oh, help us get elected in our primaries. Show up at the election. That's all we want you for. You guys are useful idiots. We cannot let you guys fully run things because you're too extreme. You'll be rejected. Let the adults in the room run everything. Well, it kept spreading and spreading, and they kept failing and not moving fast enough. And so now the crazies are taking over. And we're watching it all cave in on them in real time. It's beautiful. And as a result, many Democrats are starting to flee. Former Jill Biden press secretary and lifelong Democrat Michael LaRosa endorses Mike Rogers over Abdullah Sayed. He's endorsing a Republican. Jill Biden's press secretary is now endorsing a Republican because these people are getting too crazy. That's not just saying I might vote for him. That's an endorsement. Democrats changing wings very publicly. Here's Jillian Michaels herself, someone who woke up out of her liberal mindset, realizing how bad things were getting, being a Hollywood person herself. Here's what she's hearing. Sage Steele, same deal. Both these women were in the media, liberals, and then had a wake-up call. Realized how bad things were getting, how far the country was falling, and became MAGA. And they still talk to their friends. And here's what Jillian Michaels has to say about what she's hearing from her friends, her liberal friends.
I had a moment. I won't say who, but with someone very, 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 very close to me who has Trump derangement syndrome unlike anything I have ever seen before. And we had a moment last night where she asked me about Syed. I told her who he was, what he stands for. And there's also, there's some political Islamist elements in this guy's world as well that are alarming. But having said that, she goes, I'm going to register as an independent and vote for the best person possible. And I almost passed out. You have no idea, because I don't want to I don't want to put this person on blast, but I just responded and said, me too. Good. I don't need to be tribal either. I'm going to vote for the person who is the best person with the best ideas, who cares about the country. But I think the DSA, you're seeing more people wake up. This could almost be the thing that is needed to wake up the rest of the left. We've been talking about this.
But isn't something like 35%? That's a huge
win with your friend, Jillian. That is a huge win. And I shouldn't maybe say win, but that makes me so happy. Those are the stories where why you can continue to have hope. Because if someone is willing to let go of TDS, put all of the things away, and just have the conversation, look at the facts. That is when change can happen. So just please give yourself a tiny bit of credit there for having the conversation repeatedly over the last couple of years, to the point where it has been super costly for you in so many ways. But look, you are helping, and I hope you know that.
I think we're
people who hate Trump starting to turn independent, because guess what? Americans hate communism. I've been saying this since the beginning. I've been saying it since Mamdani was elected last November. How, short-term loss, long-term gain. The longer these commies are in charge, the more they become prevalent, the more they take over small cities or large cities like New York, but small relative to the whole of America. The more they take over little pockets, and people see Americans hate communists. They hate communism. They're not going there. 80% of Americans come out recently anti-communist in the recent polls. Negative 73% approval for communism in America. Folks, they'll put up with a little socialism. They'll put up with some Bernie Sanders talk. But then when they see the truth, which is DSA people are starting to say, it's waking up a lot of people. And this is the worst news possible for them come the midterms. And then you add in fixing our elections, or at least making it tougher to cheat. Well, here's Kamala Harris giving us a big talk about why this is so dangerous, that we're trying to protect our elections. See, they're panicking in many ways. Carville's panicking about the outward shift to the communism. Kamala and others are panicking about the election integrity efforts. Listen to this. By the way, this is their 2028 presidential front runner right now. It's just too funny.
Hey everybody, so they're trying to mess with your ability to vote, just to break it all down. You've got the Supreme Court, they just sealed the deal with this case that just came up recently, the Calais decision, which basically took the power out of the Voting Rights Act, which was designed to protect your right to vote. So you got the Supreme Court doing its thing, then...
How much Franzia did you think she had before this? Watch her head. Like, this is not a sober woman. Then, she's nuts.
It was designed to protect your right to vote. So you got the Supreme Court doing its thing. Then, this president.
It looked like she had a little alcohol burp right there that she had to get out of her system first.
Is trying to push this SAVE Act, which basically would require that for people to register to vote, you're going to have proof of who you are.
Oh my God. You're going to have proof of who you are? That's terrible. Why should anybody have to do that to vote?
Through a passport, which a lot of Americans don't have, or a birth certificate. Same point. Obstacles to make it difficult for you to register to vote. And then you got the states. 19 states have already passed laws to make it more difficult to vote. And the ones that haven't passed a law are doing it in practice in many places around our country. Why? Because they're scared of you. They are scared of your power, the power you have, the power of your voice through your vote. So the work we have to do right now, let's make sure everybody, check your voter registration status, because you know they've been purging the rolls. Make sure you register to vote. Even if you thought you are, just make sure. Next, let's make sure that everybody we know is registered to vote if they've not registered before. And then let's encourage everyone, vote early where they can, vote by mail where they can, and vote. It's gonna make a difference. Hey everybody.
She's acting like she just was woken up from being passed out, you know, like she just had one too many, and they're like, Kamala, we gotta film that commercial. Don't worry, we'll do a lot of jump cuts. She really struggled to get through that. That was rough. Kamala. She was probably like, can I go back to bed now? But again, this is the panic, folks. When you see this kind of stuff coming out here, this is panic. Telling people, go check your voter registration. Maybe you were purged from the rolls. They're trying to scare everybody into getting back into the vote, showing up, because they're losing. They know things are going really, really poorly for them. And it's only going to get worse because the money hasn't been spent yet. Scoop, Republicans plan to use their first ever midterm convention to make a sweeping, made-for-TV case that Dems are captive to the activist left. They're going all out on the convention they're about to have, and it's going to be all about, well, by the way, in prime time on all the networks, because it's a convention, they're going to be telling the world about how commie the left is. And the Democrats can't do another convention because they don't have the money for it. This is hilarious. They spent months stockpiling clips of liberals to make the case. Our video trove is endless. They're just going to play video after video. You better believe I'm playing as much of this convention live as possible on my show. So you guys check in here for the live coverage, because this is going to be epic, this convention they're having. I believe it's September 9th and 10th. I cannot wait. It's going to be excellent. And again, the money hasn't been spent yet. They're going to be outing them all, and that's the plan. Just show them what they got. Show them what they got. Well, and Democrats, again, here's more panic. They don't know that they're worried the Republicans are gaining momentum. Democrat leadership instructed their members not to sign on a bill that would cap student loan interest at 2%. This helps their people the most. Most college-educated people vote Democrat. And they're going to cap their student loan interest at 2%, but the Democrats won't vote for it because it makes Republicans look good ahead of the midterms. This is who they are, folks. This is who they are. Believe them when they show you. Believe them when they show you. Now, Keshel, who, by the way, Seth Keshel started following me this week, which makes me very excited, as I think he's the smartest guy in all understanding elections. He says, if this was the other way around, Dems would be screaming about a blue wave no matter how small the change. Such a small change in fairly large states says a lot about AstroTurf pay for registrations like Pennsylvania and Arizona. Here's New Jersey. Change from July. Republicans lost 400. Democrats lost 500. Independents gained 9,400. That's in Jersey. If you're registering independent in Jersey, you're probably going to vote Republican. Just saying, because independents tend to vote the opposite of the entrenched party, but they don't want to admit what side they're on. So it's going hardcore independent. Why? Because the Democrats are bleeding out. This is interesting too, because last fall, Democrats won in Jersey. Barely, at least compared to what was expected, but they won. They won the governorship, and now they're purging Democrats. Excellent. Again, the numbers, these are the numbers that speak truth versus the polls. And then finally, I keep harping on it, but I'm going to keep bringing it back up over and over again. This midterm is life and death for the Democrats, because 2028, they have no one. They're about to run Kamala. Trump will still be in charge with the DOJ, so they're going to be able to make sure the elections are not nearly as rigged as 24 was, which we won, or 2020 was. But it only gets so much worse for them after 2030. The latest forecast gains, Texas and Florida each gaining electoral, California and New York losing, but the total, they're gaining. Trump states, red states, are projected to gain 9 as of the 2030 census. That is representatives and electoral college votes, while blue states lose 9. And that's not even counting what's going to change in the redistricting from the Voting Rights Act being struck down. That's still going to have a lot of states that weren't willing to do it for this midterms doing it between now and 28, now and 2030. The future, folks, for the red team is very, very, very bright looking ahead. And now you understand. Once you understand that, you understand why they're treating this midterm as if it's the end all be all, the greatest, most important midterms of our lives, more important than presidential elections, because to them it is. They lose this one, they are screwed. If they win this one, they're likely still screwed. But it'll at least give them a little energy. But if they lose it, they realize they have nothing. And looking ahead, it just gets worse for them every single election, significantly so for the next 20 years. And that, my friends, is the beauty of demographics and the beauty of Democrats ruining their states. So no blackpilling. No blackpilling allowed. Okay, hit that like and subscribe, folks. Thank you for watching. I got 2 more segments coming up, including the latest on Iran in our fight against the globalists worldwide. And then, of course, we got a big old grifter report today. A big old grifter report. And I'm super excited for it because I just love exposing these people. It's always fun. But hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate it. Let me get into the chat. I did see a couple super chats come in, so let me address those first. Let's see. $5 from Chiosap says Al-Qaeda, Hawkaloogie, and a booger, whatever his name is, needs Hassan Piker because he's connected to Neville Singham, who's funding him from China. Excellent point, Chiosap. That is true. Neville Singham does fund Piker and all those commies. And yeah, he's got to keep that money. Great point. Kevin Carberline with a $100 super chat. Kevin, brother, you humble me as always, my friend. Thank you so much for your support. It is so appreciated. Says, tell them Republicans died to set them free. I like that. That could be the slogan for the midterms. That'd be pretty intense, but I like it. Republicans died to set you free. I like it. Chio Sal with a $5 super chat says, I've been sending hijab outfits to liberal women. I know with a note, you're going to need this if Dems win. They've been replying, I'm not voting Democrat. Oh my God. That's too funny, man. That's messed up. And Chio Sal with another one says, Kamala has proof, 80% alcohol proof. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. 80% might be low. Honestly, might be low. So, by the way, speaking of the future, I saw this video today. I didn't have a place to put it in a segment, but I want to share it with you guys because it's one of my favorite things I've seen. But I don't know if you guys saw this. I believe this is at Lindsey Graham's funeral. But this is Trump sharing Tic Tacs with JD Vance. This made me laugh so way too hard. Like, you want some? You see how hard Vance is laughing? He cannot believe Trump's busting out the Tic Tacs in the middle of the song. We don't deserve this, man. He's the best. He has some to JD. Basent's like, I'll take some. Look how much they're laughing. You guys think they hate each other? These guys love Trump. They all love each other. I had to share that because I just thought it was the greatest thing. It's just fantastic. Look how happy he is. They're just dying laughing. It's so funny. So funny. Anyways, I wanted to share that because, you know, I like showing, I just, Trump makes me laugh always. So this is Tic Tacs from campaigning. So good. All right. Anyways, let me get in here and make sure I catch up with you. Any tagged questions, comments? Let me see if I can find any here before we move on. Here's see. And then we're going to get into more. I got a lot more coming, so don't leave. But again, guys, questions, comments, please tag me so I can find them. It is tough to find them otherwise, especially as the chat grows and the channel grows. So appreciate you guys who do that. Let's see. Mr. Alucard says, in my opinion, people who live in blue states lack the right to complain about cost of living. Yeah, you know, I would say they lack the right to blame Trump, but they can complain. Let them complain. But they got to realize who got them there. Blue states are much, much worse place than red states. It's not even close. Three more payments. Your student loans paid in full, says Threads. Congratulations. That's awesome. Well done. Let's see. Trump said he's willing to leave Iran without nuclear option. Did he reach his object? He didn't say that. That's being reported that he maybe told his aides that, but Trump did not come out and say that, and he won't. I don't believe it at all. I don't believe it at all. But oh, we got a troll in the chat. Goodbye. Retard. It's all a show. Oh, nothing ever works. Dude, when you get that black pilled, you need to go touch grass and just go find something in life that make you happy, because you shouldn't be even watching this crap since you're just a miserable person. That's sad. Sad to get to that point. That Negro 722. What a name. I think he probably chose that name too to just make us read it out loud and try to get us in trouble. Why isn't China being bombed into oblivion for flooding our country with fentanyl? Well, I mean, honestly, is that a real question? If we bombed China and we started a war with China, do you understand like what the problem that would be? First of all, we are both interconnected economically so much that it would just ruin both of our economies. Secondly, they do have, I believe, the second biggest military on Earth, maybe the biggest by person. You can't go to war with China. That would be like having a hot war with the Soviet Union when they were at their peak. You just can't do it. You have to beat China economically. That's the only way to defeat China. And that's what, we're working on. I got you, Kev. No worries. Did crude go up a bunch today? If crude went up, it's usually because of announcements, like something the markets didn't like about what Trump said. Let me look real here. Oh yeah, crude is up just above 80. It's not up a ton though. I don't know. I'm not too worried about it right now. I don't see. Yeah, they're just waiting for a deal to be announced with Iran. So, but let's talk about Iran. That's a perfect time to bring it in. So, again, guys, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit me up in the chat during the segment. I'll do my best to answer it in between segments. Please tag me though so I can find them. super chats and memberships. By the way, I haven't mentioned the membership yet. I did a short members live last week, just describing kind of where I've been, and apologizing to the members because I haven't put out a ton of members content lately, but it is coming much more as my schedule starts getting more set in stone. This summer has just been insane for me. But anyways, just letting you guys know that if you're a member and you missed it, it's there on the Patreon. And for everybody else, if you want to become a member for free, try it out. Click the link in the description, get a free month, try it out, try out the Discord, check out some of the members only content and see what you think. Alrighty. Bernie's a socialist because he's Jewish, represents the left-wing Jewish community. I think Bernie's a socialist because he's lazy. There's plenty of Jews who are big capitalists. Will crude reach 35 a barrel? Highly doubt it. I think because you still have to make money, right? And so I think eventually we'll get to high 40s, maybe low 50s, and then we'll see our gas under $2 a gallon nationwide. That'll be awesome. That'll be awesome. So, okay, you guys ready? Have my followers increased? Yeah, Lisa, I've been, I'm over 40,000 now, almost at 41,000. So I've been seeing a lot of growth, and I'm just very humbled by that. And I thank you guys for that. I'm very, very blessed to have just an amazing group. This community is the best, and we're just going to keep going. We're just going to keep going. So are you guys ready? You guys ready to get into Iran, what we're doing globally? Big wins coming in. Big wins coming in because it's, as always, Trump's showing that he's smarter than everybody else when it comes to this stuff. So let's get into this. Things are so bad in Iran now. The Trump administration has got Iran to the breaking point, the precipice of the breaking point economically. It's so bad now that even mainstream media is starting to report it. As the New York Post put out at the end of last week, Iran's economy nears a breaking point. Citizens are reportedly stealing basic groceries just to get by. Well, this weekend, because of the economic pressure, Trump gave a quote to Axios in an interview with Barak David that Iran's a massive chess game and we're winning right now by letting brutal inflation plus economic devastation pummel them. Here's the direct quote. We're only semi-negotiating with them. We're just watching Iran with its huge inflation effect. They have no money. And I love this, as Trump is always likes to say, it will work out. It always works out. It's like a chess game. Does this man seem worried to you? Does he seem like we're losing? Because that was the spin for so long. We're losing this. But we've beaten them down. We've destroyed their military. And now their economy is about to completely collapse. And Trump seems very happy to wait it out. Which, by the way, the American people are fine with that. As long as gas prices don't spike, and we are just at the point we're at from now on, and Iran is slowly falling apart, the IRGC is slowly dying, the people rise up and we win this way with very few American casualties, with oil stabilized and then going down. The American people are going to reward President Trump and the Republicans in the midterms for a job well done. Remember, this attack started February 28th. 5 months. It's been 5 months and we've almost defeated one of the big bads in the world. Growing up, it was always China, Russia, Iran, 3 big bads in the world. And we've almost defeated Iran in 5 months with not even 20 American casualties. That, my friends, is genius. And it seems like we're almost at the point where the people might rise up. Here's what Trump has been posting, giving us it says 51 years of bad behavior. Iran has no money. He posted this on True Social.
President Trump just posted a powerful chart showing the total collapse of Iran's currency. After 51 years of bad behavior, the Iranian rial has crashed so hard that 1 million rials are now worth only about 53 cents. Trump declares Iran has no money and that their currency is pure trash. The chart makes it clear the regime is financially broken.
When your currency dips 50% in 6 months, you got a big problem. Actually, this is that's 125. So a year and a half. When your currency, and this also makes sense why Trump attacked when he did. Their currency was already collapsing. So he knocks them into an absolute spiral. I love the currency is trash part right there. This is a big problem for them. And this is because they are afraid of the Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, who is crushing it right now because wars are economic wars. And this is the best way to win them with as little bloodshed as possible. Scott Bessent announced a checkmate move. President Trump's making the Strait of Hormuz irrelevant. Let's listen to Bessent.
I want to thank as well, he was here, I didn't know he was going to be here, Treasury Secretary, I think he's going to go down as the best ever, Scott Bessent.
AI on the left right there. More than 50 to 70% of the energy moves through the strait now is going to go through underground pipelines. The strait's never going back to the way it was. The strait's going to become irrelevant. It's going to become just another body of water. That's the plan all along. Now, say Iran gets back to, say they survive this. The IRGC survives this. But now you have all these Gulf countries, more sovereign, more broken up. OPEC's broken up. The City of London's influence on the area is gone. And now Iran can never have leverage over the Strait of Hormuz again once this is done. That's incredible. And that tells you how the world is being reshaped under Trump. Iran has a problem, but nobody will bank with them. Because of sanctions, no normal bank in the world will help Iran move money. If you're an Iranian bank, you try to wire dollars through the regular system, transaction gets blocked. So they built a workaround called Rabar, shadow banking. Iran sells oil illegally through sanctioned companies. Buyer pays, China in the past, also London in the past. A buyer pays, but that money can't go straight back to Iran because it would get frozen. So instead, money goes on a tour. Iranian bank called Shar Bank is front companies, one in Iran, one in Dubai. Front companies work with two currency exchange houses in Dubai, Titan Exchange and Alps International. These exchange houses have shell companies scattered across the world, mostly in Hong Kong and Singapore. By the way, all of these London influence. Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai, Alps International is EU. All of it is London banking. Here's the trick. When money needs to move, operators pick a shell company from their list, print an invoice, they run the money through the shell's bank account. Anyone looking at it looks like normal trade, but company B doesn't do anything. It's a name on a piece of paper. One of those exchange houses, Alps, moved hundreds of millions of dollars this way in 26 alone. So what the Treasury Department did? Sanctioned the whole chain. The exchange houses, shell companies in Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai, and 4 individual people. 3 of those people are the ones who make the invoices, coordinate the payments. The 4th is the IT guy. That makes sense. Go after the man who sets up the systems. Amir Hendy, his job was keeping the computers running at Titan Exchange. They sanctioned him because the servers go down, the money doesn't move. This is how deep it goes. They're not just going after money. They're going after the plumbing, the people who keep the lights on. Now the part should make you sit up. One of the Iranian bank employees was working with VTB Bank, a Russian bank that's under sanctions. Iran can't move money. Russia can't move money, so they helped each other. 2 sanctioned countries pulling their workarounds. That's what happens when you cut people off. They don't stop. They find each other. But here's what people will miss. This was the 8th action this year against the Iranian network. This is why they're collapsing. Treasury Department listed them in the press release. Hit Iranian banks front companies. 8 actions, each one going deeper. They're not 8 separate investigations. There's one target being taken apart floor by floor. You raid the top floor, you find the paperwork tells you on the floor below, go there next. Every arrest produces a map for the next arrest, same pattern all along. Sham charity in London that funneled money to Hamas, took photographs of aid deliveries, but cropped out anything showing where goods actually went. Of course it did. Mexican cartel laundering bank through tequila distilleries. Real distilleries, real tequila, ring in Spain, open bank accounts, forged passports, split 4 million euros into 9,200 tiny transfers to stay under the radar. 230-year-old Swiss bank convicted last week for processing money from Uzbek extortion network. And now Iranian operators printing fake invoices on borrowed letterhead. They don't hide in the dark. They hide in filing cabinet. Invoice, charity, distillery, bank account, shipping manifest, all legitimate on paper. That's why the enforcement looks the way it does. Treasury Secretary said out loud today, Iran's shadow banking system is buckling and the regime's running out of ways to move money. Amazing stuff. Absolutely amazing. Here's Bessent's Direct quote. Iran's shadow banking systems buckling under economic fury. Regime's running out. Every facilitator keeps regime afloat is putting target on its own back. Treasury will continue to expose these networks and cut them off from the U.S. financial system. This is how you win the war, really win it. They can't feed their people. They can't pay their military. It's going to collapse. This, by the way, though, that intricacy of all those banks, now you get an idea of how City of London has controlled so many things for so long. Moving the money around. That's the globalist network. That is how the deep state works. That and plus intelligence agencies, et cetera, et cetera. But this is a big way of it that rarely gets talked about. How all this money kept being moved around to keep places like Iran in business so they could keep destabilizing the Middle East whenever they wanted, keep funding terrorist groups. All of this. This is why Iran's the key, folks. This is why once Iran was attacked, all assets were deployed, because Iran has been being propped up for a long time by very bad people. And in this war against globalists from the Trump administration, the sovereigntist wing, trying to bring sovereignty back to America and hope it spreads, this is one of the keys was unlocking Iran. Now, here's a great post on this. Iran's regime keeps overplaying its hand. Its economy and political system are heading towards collapse while Hormuz becomes a shrinking source of leverage. U.S. and Israel need to focus on Pickaxe Mountain before it becomes this is from Mark Dubowitz. But Ida Turan, who we love, says this: I know this as a fact. The reason they're overplaying their hands is they're convinced Trump won't do anything major before the midterms. Their strategy is go on narrative war with the help of woke right, which is the Faggoland Podcastistan, and Democrat media undermine Trump, make Republicans lose the midterms. See, it's all the globalist push all the time. They're using Iran. They use whatever they can, but they're all on the same side. The Democrats are completely controlled by the globalist City of London, and many Republicans are too. But this is why they're all in it together. And people are starting to wake up from it. Now, let's look at more at what's going on in Iran, because it's very interesting. Iranian regime reliance on digital assets and shadow banking networks is further evidence economic fury is working, whether in dollars, reals, or crypto. Treasury will hunt down, dismantle the illicit financial networks. He didn't say their move to crypto is a problem. He says evidence pressure's working. Why? Because they can't operate in the regular markets anymore. Here's what happened. OFAC designated 2 crypto exchanges on the same day, Shellbit Exchange and Aben Tether, both accused of laundering millions for Iran's Revolutionary Guard, the IRGC. Also simultaneously took down traditional shadow banking network, all on the same day. Now, we know a lot of the details here, but every time the regime moves to a new channel, reveals new channel, new exchange processes Iranian military funds, becomes next target. Enforcement isn't changing money, it's hurting it. Deny the old rails, force migration, new rails, map the new ones, deny those too. This is what it means that economic fury is working. Iran hasn't stopped moving money. It's every move generates next enforcement action. Regime's running every step it takes, leaves a footprint. Treasury follows. That's why they're running out of money like crazy. It is falling apart. Treasury sanctions crypto exchange, says laundered millions for Iran. Every little bit helps, and we're choking them out. It's the typical siege mentality. We have our ships blocking them from getting oil out in the Strait. We have our military taking out their weapons, their ability to attack, their ability to defend themselves, all gone. Mostly gone, I should say, at least in any major way. And then you sit there and wait while we enforce blockade after blockade on their finances and make the people get very, very upset with it. And it's working. Food crisis in Iran, when inflation becomes a threat to health and future. Iran's famine has begun. Iranians are starving, turning into changing consumer habits, get food in their stomach. The IRGC doesn't care if Iranians starve. No, I bet they care about larceny and civil disorder. This is just what the Romanovs did to the Russian people. Except this time, it's as if the Romanovs were in charge and the people are getting help from the U.S. and can take it back. Iran lost, Trump won. And with all this going on, the globalists are freaking out. Netanyahu, who, depending on who you ask, is either a patriot for Israel who doesn't like how Trump does things, or he's part of the problem in Israel, deep stater. Regardless, we get more and more proof that Trump is simply not controlled by him. As the latest from Reuters from yesterday afternoon, Netanyahu doesn't like Trump's Gaza plan. Why? Well, the Gaza plan is going to bring peace, and Netanyahu likes war. Let's just be honest with it. Now, again, I'm mixed on Netanyahu. I don't believe he's the most evil person in the world, but I certainly don't believe he's the best. And I personally believe that Israel has its own deep state, and they're doing, they're part of that deep state is part of keeping things triggered in the Middle East as much as possible. But I believe Trump is fixing that while also bringing peace to Israel, the people, and the good factions of Israel. And we'll see how this all plays out. But regardless of where you stand on this, Netanyahu coming out against Trump again, as he's done so many times, just more proof that Trump's not controlled by any of these people, and he's doing what's best for the region, regardless of who agrees with him, including Israel. And as always, while all this is going on, the globalists, as they realize Iran is getting further and further away from them, they ramp up stuff in Ukraine. Ukraine drones, this was reported this morning, launched 750 miles deep into central Russia, killing 13. Ukraine continues to antagonize Russia in kind of terroristic type ways. They've been killing civilians. I believe this is to goad Russia into making a mistake so that they can declare Article 5 in NATO and try to get World War III going. See, the reason people think Ukraine is winning this is because Russia has been relatively restrained. And that's because Putin's smart. He doesn't want to get into World War III. Trump doesn't want to get into World War III, but the globalists do. They need that money. And we're going to keep getting more interesting stories coming out of Ukraine as Iran gets weaker and weaker. And then we're getting more and more exposure of London as well. Look at this. Royal Navy spy drones used by Britain's elite special forces sent data to China. The cameras on the K3 Scout surveillance drones had components made in China which were secretly transmitting information to a device in the country. Royal Marines been using that fleet since March. Ministry of Defense is forced to remove all internet connectivity from the cameras after discovering the breach. Guys, I don't believe this is actually a breach. You guys believe whatever you want. That's the Telegraph spinning it, in my opinion. Truth is, they got busted. They got busted. The deep state, globalists, they've all been doing whatever they can to undermine the U.S. and any forward actions that's hurting them or on surface hurting them. And this includes sending data to China. I don't believe this was accidental at all. I mean, this is their elite special forces. You're telling me they didn't know? They didn't know it was sending data to China? All roads lead to London, doesn't it? We just see it over and over again. But to me, the fact that this is being exposed, they're being called on it, things are ramping up in Ukraine as Iran is getting choked out, it's all good news. I think we're truly heading in the right direction here. And Iran, I don't think they're going to be standing up much longer. Trump seems very comfortable right now waiting it out. And if he's comfortable waiting it out, I don't think it'll be long before we start getting stories of the IRGC collapsing and the people hopefully running to their capital and taking back their country for themselves. And that would be one of the biggest wins ever against the globalists. And I don't think we're far off from it. Okay, hit that like and subscribe, folks. Thanks for watching. Got one more segment coming up here. Is the Grifta Report, where we're going to expose the frauds and what they're up to try and end America First, MAGA, Trump, all that. Let me first though get into the chat and catch up with all the people here. Bruce Rice sent 20 gift memberships. Very, very generous of you, Bruce. Thank you for that. 20 people now are in the membership. You guys now have access to members only content here on the channel, and you get to be a part of supporting the channel. So thank you for that. And Bruce, very, very generous of you. Thank you so much, Bruce. Really appreciate it. James Mule with the $10 super chat says, I found you on Rich Does Politics, Promethean Action. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, James. Very, very appreciated. Thank you for the support of the channel. Every dollar helps, as I am a user and viewer supported channel. So thank you so much for that. Okay, let me see if anybody sent over any questions, comments through tags, so I'm not missing anything. Here we go. Rumdog says, I love how Trump exposed shadow banking system. Absolutely. And that is, you know, we haven't seen the full effects of this yet, but it's going to, you know, this is how City of London works. They do it here. I mean, think of all the fraud networks, SPLC, etc., how Soros launders his money. They were experts at laundering money and paying their people shadowy ways, but that's all being dismantled and exposed. And so because of that, they're getting weaker by the day. And Bessent announced this, I believe it was last April or May, when he first announced that this is what they were going to be doing. When they first announced they were going after Antifa. Well, it's just been nonstop since then. Trump waging economic war on everybody and winning. It's a beautiful thing to see, because by taking all this out, they have less overt power. They're not able to destabilize things as much. So let's see. Thanks, Bruce. Let's see that. Great mods, great show. Always a pleasure. I appreciate you, Bruce. You're awesome, man. Let's see. Anybody else here? Am I missing anything? I'm not seeing much. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Oh, Ink and Rock says, you and all MAGA folks should be showing Republican nominees for comparison. You know, I am thinking about doing some in some of the swing districts, you know, breakdowns of the districts. But the truth is a lot of the Republican nominees are fine. But you know, I could run comparisons. I think it's just so much easier just to expose the left. Once you see what they believe in, and you don't even have to say much on the Republican side. It's like these people on the Republican side, they're capitalists, they're pro-American. I mean, that's enough. To me, it's all about, are they going to support the Trump agenda or not? And, you know, but you show how crazy the other side is. I think it makes it pretty obvious what to be doing. But I take your point, Ink and Rock, and I'll consider it. NATO is a joke. It has been for a long time. What's the word on Mitch McConnell? Apparently he's out of the hospital and is now going to be working from home. That is the latest. You guys can take that as far as you can throw it. Okay, you guys ready? Grifter report time. Okay, guys, as we're getting into this, hit that like and subscribe. Again, thank you guys for watching so much. Appreciate the support. Everybody super chatted. Really appreciate it. Love you guys, members, everybody. Very appreciated. But we got one more big segment to get into today on this loaded show. Rafi30 with a $2 super chat says, you helped me become a PSYOP expert. Thank you. That's awesome. Good. I'm so glad to hear it. I love that people are learning. And yeah, PSYOPs, you know, once you learn to see them, most of them are easy to spot. So, you know, not all the time, but we can spot most of them pretty easy. Kate says, love the show. Thank you. Can you do a segment sometime on data centers? I did do one, Kate. Go back a couple days. I think it was like a week, 2 weeks ago. I did a whole segment on data centers. Just go into my channel and search data centers in the video section. You'll find it. Kev the Tech says Promethean updates posted about Abdul. Okay, can't wait to go see that. Bibi was the first to congratulate Biden. That's true. He was. Belt some grifters. Yep, let's do it. Have I heard the BS Middle East NATO too? No, that's interesting. Okay, let's get into it. So later today, it's been announced that Hunter Biden is going to be on Tucker Carlson, and the show is releasing later today. But they did preview it, and guys, this is going to kind of tell you everything you need to know about, you know, if you were still on the fence about Tucker Carlson, well, I don't know how you're staying there. Listen to this.
11 years, though I've talked about you. Hunter Biden.
I love Candace.
I do too.
Yeah. I like Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene. I like that there are people that have kind of woken up.
I have really only one question, one thing that has bothered me. So I just want to ask you point blank, did you drop off laptops?
No, the answer is no. I say to everybody, okay, show me your phone. Because I showed you mine and you didn't find a goddamn thing.
We get approached by Israelis.
He's letting them cover his laptop story, give a cover for that. He throws out immediately, like, I love Candace Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene. So there's their cross promotion they always do. This is so stupid. This is so insane how obvious this all is at this point. Hunter Biden. I mean, he's been making the rounds. He's been on Candace. I mean, him and Tucker have a long time going back, but this is insane. This is insane. But Tucker is just embracing the craziness now. He's just this is so nuts. Now, of course, I mean, how funny is it? He says, like, I like that people have woken up. But then, of course, you know, it's nothing if you don't also make it about the Jews. Here we go.
We get approached by Israelis connected to Benjamin Netanyahu who are shopping this stuff to me at Fox News. The way that it entered the bloodstream of the American media was not real.
I don't have any more secrets.
So now the Hunter Biden laptop was created by the Jews. You cannot make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. This is crazy. Tucker has lost it. He has gone off the deep end. But again, why? Because it's all assets deployed time. The globalists are losing, and so they're deploying all their assets, and that includes rehabilitating Hunter Biden. And by the way, if you've ever believed the Israel controls everything psyop, if you ever fell for that nonsense, this should be your clue that it's retarded. Because Hunter Biden is now the one saying, that was my laptop created for them. Well, that's a tell, folks. If you believe these lies, you might be an idiot.
Donald Trump. I think he had such an opportunity. He just decided that all he was going to do was for himself.
One of my closest friends.
Hunter Biden says that he believed Trump had an opportunity. Oh, okay. So you were kind of like MAGA adjacent. What is this?
Went off the deep end, and all of a sudden Trump's under the bed, and it's like, whoa. It's like
he was under my bed.
Oh, good one, Hunter. This is pathetic. This is so pathetic. And Hunter is out there promoting it. Spent the day in Maine with Tucker. We had a great conversation. Mere fact, we sat down with each other and had a silver conversation has apparently pissed people off. Yeah, that's not why, Hunter. It's because the grift is so obvious. We're all, by the way, I'm mostly laughing about it, but we're all remarking upon how obviously insane this is now, how crazy it is. And it's like, there's no hiding anymore. It's just out there in the open for all to see. And if you still don't believe it, if you still think Tucker Carlson's the truth, Marjorie Taylor Greene is truly just an awakened individual, Candace Owens is one of the good guys just trying to help Charlie out, if you're still believing that, well, you might be retarded. I'm just saying, you should probably go get yourself checked because it is getting that crazy. I mean, the grift is strong with this one, folks. The grift is strong with this one. Here's Tucker just the other day telling us about usury and debt and how evil it is before he advertises it.
How can a sovereign person be underwater in debt? Well, of course you can't. Because when you owe more than you can immediately repay, you're effectively owned by the person to whom you owe the money. So debt is an attack on sovereignty. And it's important to say that because no one ever does.
No one ever says debt's bad, guys. Did you know that? He goes on, it's a form of slavery. I can't play this whole clip because, Tucker copyrights everybody now who plays his clips. I've had about 15 old videos of mine in just the last month be flagged by YouTube. We're talking videos that sometimes are 2 years old because Tucker is on the hunt for now anybody who uses his clips. So you got to keep it under a certain amount. So I can't even play this whole clip anymore because Tucker, he cares so much about free speech. But he goes on about usury and interest and how evil it is. And, but here we go. As he's going through all this. But let me tell you about lending, folks.
Person, if not a dangerous person. Our friends at American Financing have a better way. They're helping homeowners use their hard-earned equity, and they're supporting Americans looking to fulfill the dream of owning a home with mortgage rates currently in the 5s. American Financing saves its customers an
usury and debt is evil. But hey, join American Financing so you can get deeper into debt with your buy a home. And so I could get a cut of it. There you go, Tucker. That's you're very legitimate, man. Legitimate guy here. Do you think he even knows he's got his own page on their site. Usury and debt is evil. But if you're gonna do it Tucker's way so he can get a cut. That's these guys. This is America first, folks. This is America first. So, and then remember last week he gave us his whole speech on morality, and it did not go over well, as I covered, and people were mocking him for it, breaking it down, how stupid this whole thing was, and then so of course the grifter crowd went into full damage control, including Mark Mitchell, who was fired from Rasmussen for being a little too outspoken and anti-MAGA probably, but came out and started his own polling company, so he can now say whatever he wants, and he does. His Twitter is lit up since he's been fired from Rasmussen, but says no matter your position on Tucker's manifesto, it's clear he did a major service for America. He reminded us policy positions should be based on morality. Did he? Did Tucker accomplish that? I don't know, guys. You tell me. Did you all just realize that you don't, all of a sudden it's like, oh, thank you, Tucker. Thank you. You're right. We should do our policies based on morality. Apparently Mark Mitchell says so. And, but people are thankfully calling him out, over it. But Marjorie, she wouldn't be stopped either. Says, thank you, JP Sears, which by the way, how sad is it? JP Sears is completely gone off the deep end. I used to really like this guy's stuff. His early stuff especially was very funny. And then he went kind of red-pilled and was given some great political analysis. But then, again, Iran, once Iran hit, he went full retard, full grifter. And it's all assets deployed again. And this is another perfect example of it. And she calls it out. Thank you, JP, for once again perfectly speaking truth and madness. How dare Tucker lay out moral principles our own taxpayer-funded elected government follow? At least MAGA cult members are trying to straighten us out. And as JP's post, deranged MAGA loyalists losing it over Tucker's 10-point plan for America.
Tucker Carlson hates America. He's a traitor. Yeah, I listened to his 10-point plan for America.
What should America be?
He thinks our country should be fair, healthy, wise, and united.
Well, these guys all just propping each other up. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. Need I remind you? This is Moral Tucker. Moral Tucker. But they all fall in line. And you can tell it's just, this is all an operation. They're all controlled. Every single one of them. It's just one after the other. You criticize Tucker, you make fun of his show last week where they had all this buildup. Nope. Let's attack. We gotta come forward. We gotta cover for him. We gotta make sure that people fall in line. And it makes so much sense when you realize like how they all come together. I mean, it's the Dugin Network, as we've started calling it. All the attachments. And you got this wonderful graphic somebody put together finally. Oh, yeah, because by the way, last week, Tucker had Kim.com on. I don't know if you guys know who Kim.com is. He's well known in the tech world and the deep recesses of the dark web internet source as this bastion of freedom but then he went full retard on Trump. It's the Jews behind everything. Never mentioning City of London for the guy who's supposed to be so anti-deep state, so against. He's like a deep dark web Alex Jones. Very celebrated by that side. But the guy, just like Alex Jones, he's just a fat alcoholic who gets attention by ragging on Trump and saying that he knows things that he doesn't know. But he went on Tucker and was called out, thank God. But here's what the Dugin Network looks like in this excellent breakdown. So you got Dugin, the Russian ideologue, the guy who is the guy behind the guy. He is who most believe at this point kind of frames the narratives. And he's been platformed by all these people, brought up, and then they go to Russia to meet with him. Well, he's got this excellent Foundations of Geopolitics here, the playbook, and then it's Bannon, Posobiec, Tucker, Alex Jones, Glenn Greenwald, I mean, so on and so forth. And there's more. I mean, it's Candace Owens, it's Megyn Kelly. I mean, they've all spent their time with him. Candace was just there a couple months ago. And Dugin, as part of the op, is called the brain of Putin. However, he doesn't even hang out with Putin. Putin has nothing to do with him. Dugin is London. He is tied to City of London. He is part of this whole push. How anti-American influence routed through media, populism, and chaos. And he is pushing a lot of these narratives that once he pushes out, most of these people push out as well. They all do it in their own way, but they do it. And it's pretty obvious to see the more you look at it. And they are pushing hard right now because they know it's going very, very, very badly for them. And that's why they're doing this. Breaking, former Trump official Kent says he's leaving the GOP to back Thomas Massey's third party. Oh, yeah. This is what that meeting was all about a couple weeks ago, and they all got together. Had their meeting, said, "What's up, guys? How are we going to do this? Who's going to be the top of the ticket?" Right now, it looks like they're leaning towards Massey because they still, for some stupid reason, think he's popular, which he's not. But he does have a lot of bots online who will fight you if you call them out. But, that's how most of them operate. But Kent, he's been pushing the narrative as well. It's a scandal we allowed a foreign government to convince us to get into this disastrous war. There it is again, guys. It's always against the Jews. Why do they want to make that the focus when Israel's not even 100 years old? It's smaller than New Jersey. It was created by the British. I mean, it doesn't take long to figure out that the Jews are definitely not our big issue. But they never mention beyond that, do they? And that's kind of how you know the grift. Speaking in another segment, about how to notice psyops. Well, blackpilling is always number one for me, but it's quickly become make it about the Jews. And I'm not talking about real criticism of Israel that can be warranted. I'm not talking about actual legitimate criticism and problems, which they sometimes deserve. I'm talking about the idea that it's always Israel behind everything. And that is how you spot a psyop. And that's how you know Joe Kent is an absolute fraud. But again, they got a third party going, guys. Marjorie Taylor Greene says the third party movement with Tucker is getting serious interest. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's getting serious interest by like 15 people. 15 people and, a lot of foreigners. I bet they're getting a lot of calls from foreigners. You know, the networks that fund the Squad, that fund Thomas Massie, the Iranians who are paying him $7,000 checks. I'm sure they're very interested in this third party because they got to make sure MAGA dies, as Marjorie Taylor Greene is basically admitting in this clip here about their third party. Here's Marjorie telling us why a third party and what it could actually accomplish.
They're not. And so these are very serious conversations I'm having with a very small group of people that I know, I'm good friends with, that I consider us to be the top of the America First movement. Is we have to have a real discussion to figure out what does the future look like. And there's multiple paths to that. One of them in being is, why give the Republican Party our vote? They don't deserve it. They lie, they backstab us.
Why give them our vote? I don't know, Marjorie. I could think of a couple reasons. Yeah. Do a lot of Republicans lie? Yeah. Are a lot of them rhinos? Yes. Are a lot of them establishment? Yes. Have they been deep state? Yes. Have the Republicans failed us time and time again? Yes. But are they still better than communists? Yes. Because we have taken over the Republican Party. MAGA has taken over the Republican Party. We now hold those guys in check. And as the Todd Blanche vote, where he just got confirmed, proved, we can force them into alignment a lot of the time. That's better than Democrats who are completely outwardly owned by the deep state, by foreigners, by anti-Americans, by commies. So yeah, Marjorie. But see, one of the ways, talking about PSYOPs, you want to know a PSYOP, folks? Talk about blackpilling. There's no hope, because and all you can do is hope to slow everything down. See, progress is a good thing. We all want progress. We all want to move towards our goals. And so you know what you do? You know how fighters win? They accept every bit of progress and they celebrate it. And then they go out and do hard work again for another little bit of progress. When you get the people who say, if it's not perfect, we don't join. If it's not perfect, we whine and cry and throw a fit. That's a PSYOP. It's also stupidity. It's retardation. You never win by getting everything you want all at once. That doesn't happen. You win the way we've been winning in the Republican Party, by the MAGA movement taking over the party in every election, weeding out a few more rhinos. Every election, doing it time and time again. You don't just expect everything to be perfect after one election. There's a lot of things happening here. There's a lot of factors. We are undoing 100 years of managed decline. But, they're not perfect, so they don't deserve our vote. You know what she's saying? Let's do a third party so we can break the Republicans. But you know what happens when you break the Republicans, Marjorie? You let the much worse side come in. The side we have no control in. The side we have no say in. They will come in and they will undo everything your retarded little face says you want. But you don't care about that, do you, Marjorie? Because you're actually one of them. You're actually one of them. To put in Wayne Campbell's perfect analogy, psycho hose beast. Well, that's what I'm looking at.
And they break their promises, and they continue going on this whole this war economy, the American war economy, fighting wars that we should have nothing to do with, while they don't solve problems here at home. Like I'm talking about, Social Security is going to be bankrupt. Health insurance is unaffordable for Americans. The value of the dollar continues to crumble, and life here continues to get worse and worse and worse.
So let's accelerate it by bringing in the Democrats. That's what we should do. That's a great idea, Marjorie. Marjorie Moron Green. These people are ridiculous, but you know, they're telling us who you are. They're telling us who they are, you know? Oh, here's the next part of the PSYOP, getting the third party going. Mark Mitchell's given us some details on what he thinks we should do. Anyone who doesn't seek to compromise and find common ground with the left is probably pro-oligarchy, pro-neocon. Hold on a second. I thought Marjorie Taylor Greene just told us We can't compromise with the Republicans. We can't compromise with you guys, so we need our own party. But we're supposed to compromise with the left? Wait a second, folks. Again, they tell you exactly what they're thinking. They tell you exactly who they are. Compromising and finding common ground with the left, there is none, folks. There is none. But apparently these people, I'm trying to be nice, apparently they don't think there's any compromise with the Republican Party, so you just crush it. And then you try to make nice with the left. You guys see the PSYOP yet? You see it in real time? Because it's happening in real time. Here, how about I show you fag hair Schroyer, who's lost his mind and gone completely queer. You can see it in his hair and his porn stash, pedo stash. He must be true Epstein class. Look, what the heck is this guy thinking? But he's telling us exactly what they want you to do. Oh, by the way, this guy was pardoned by President Trump. He's not in prison thanks to President Trump. Listen how loyal he is.
So the only answer might be Democrats getting in there and stopping this administration. Democrats getting in there and stopping Trump from all the damage he's doing to this country. It might be the only option. That's what people are realizing. Wake up, guys. Wake up, MAGA.
We're realizing that Trump is so bad for us that we have to vote Democrat. Hey, can anybody, I'm asking anybody, Owen, come on my show. You won't, because I would destroy you. But come on my show and tell me again how Trump is worse than Democrats. I would love to know it. I would love to know if you can come up with one cognitive thought about how Trump is worse than Democrats. I want to know it. So this president who, as somebody who's been a conservative Christian my entire life, I'm seeing things happen that I thought were only dreams that would never happen. I'm getting the best presidency of my lifetime, and it's not close. Yeah, better than Reagan. In fact, I would say 5 times better than Reagan. This is the greatest movement in modern American history. The most consequential president since Lincoln towards growing Christian values, conservative values, sovereignty, freedom. The greatest president in 150 years. And you're saying Democrats are better? I don't understand that, Owen, because I'm conservative. I'm 42. I've been following politics for 25 years. I don't understand, Owen, how you could possibly say that. But the truth is, because you don't believe it, you're a liar. Just like all these guys are.
Hey, I get it. You thought it was all great. No. Wake up. Wake up. Trump is George Bush, maybe worse. The economy's not getting any better. The Pentagon is broke. The debt is at a record high. Americans' debt is at a record high. You're in the Middle East. Americans are coming back in body bags. Wake up. Wake up. You have been sold out. Trump sold you out. And I wonder how many of these Americans that signed up for the military.
This guy, as I've covered on my show, saying the economy's not getting better when Trump's put in more work in the economy than any president in 100 years. It takes time, Owen, but you're too retarded to know that. As far as the military is concerned, we had the most effective military operations we've had in my lifetime by far. And yeah, a few Americans died. It's terrible. But how much have we accomplished with those less than 20 deaths in the biggest obliteration, one of the big bads we've ever seen? We're living through the greatest military accomplishments of our nation since World War II. We're living through that, but we can't celebrate any of that, can we? Because God forbid these guys lose their influence. God forbid the globalists lose their control, because that's what they're really mad about. Isn't that crazy? But it's true. Can't you see it? It makes so much sense, though. They're all funded by foreigners. All of them. And it's coming out more and more every day. Natalie Winters did a great piece here. China-linked influence group paid to cultivate dozens of U.S. journalists and manufacture positive coverage of the CCP. CNN, NPR, New York Times, WAPO, Reuters, NBC, Bloomberg, Politico, Vox. And she goes on to name them all, which is great. But that's not the point, is it? The point is, if you think you think these people, China, UK, Iran, City of London globalists, if you think they only pay people at the mainstream media, you're crazy. You're crazy or stupid. How about all these accounts that are lying to us, pretending to be one thing and not, pretending to be MAGA and then going completely against MAGA, pretending to be for Trump, and then when Trump is at his most effective, completely turn against him? How do you explain that? Unless it's foreign money. Unless it's paid influence. Unless it's controlled opposition. It's the only thing that makes sense. Because they're all picking each other up. They're all saying the exact same things. And they're all the exact same kind of illogical. But what's interesting is, as bad as it's getting, I think the exposure part is starting to ramp up. And very interestingly, we got this post from one General Flynn this weekend. General Flynn, who has been playing both sides lately, who I've grown increasingly skeptical of, as he has been seen hugging Massey and propping up Candace Owens and propping up other stuff, that I'm just like, what is happening? This guy's supposed to be OG MAGA. He's one of the heroes of the original MAGA movement. But then he dropped this weekend, which made me think, wait a second. Maybe he was playing both sides this whole time just to blow him up? I don't know. We're going to have to watch and see how this plays out. But this is very interesting. Him posting this right after what Tucker posted. And he says the America First movement divide must end. That's the first line. This is him saying it right as they announce their third party. This is basically a rebuke to that. Now, it's not direct enough for my taste, but it's a start. I'll lock arms with anyone who stands up for USA and liberties we fought for. Here's our non-negotiables. By the way, Trump is doing all of this, calling out COVID for what it was, protect our children, election integrity, sovereignty. Notice he used the word sovereignty. Not anti-war, just anti-stupid war. This is a direct attack against their narrative, by the way, where they say Trump said no more wars, but actually Trump did say no more stupid wars. Demand accountability, stop using our tax money to fund corruption, recognize spiritual battle between globalism, American Christian principles. True. Sharia law not compatible. Absolutely. American patriots never quit. Trump is 10 for 10 on all this, folks. Isn't that interesting? 10 for 10. Local action equals national impact. I respect Tucker's proposal, but may suggest increased strength in a few areas. Honest, optimistic whys are vague. Interesting. I would adjust these to demand accountability, demand accountability, demand accountability, to only unite with those who love and fight for this country, to the others' war. Only unite with those who love and fight for this country. That means no uniting with Democrats, folks. So I'll tell you, again, I'm still extremely skeptical of Flynn. Extremely, to understate it. But I will say, this is a very interesting post considering the timing. Very interesting post. Is he simply warning his people? All those people he's been chumming it up with? Chill. You guys are going to destroy yourselves? Is that what he's doing? Or is this the beginning of him distancing and calling them all out and exposing them on another level? I don't know. But I can tell you, we're at an inflection point. Tucker came out last week. Everybody was expecting him to announce he's running. He did this big announcement, then did his stupid little video. Nobody cared. But the attention is there. The push for the third party is now there. The being open about not voting for Republicans is now there. And aligning with the left. It's all there. All of it from the same group of people who've been doing this one way or the other, undermining Trump one way or the other. All of this seems to be ramping up, which means something's about to shift, or they're getting very, very desperate. When Tucker has Hunter Biden on and they're blaming his laptop on the Jews, that's a pretty good sign they're losing. But maybe that's just me. We'll find out as we watch. But I'm telling you, every day these people are losing more and more influence because it's getting way too obvious now just what absolute total frauds they are. As if Owen's hair wasn't enough to let you know. Okay, guys, hit that like and subscribe. Thank you all for watching today. Let me get into the chat. I'm going to answer your questions and comments for the rest of the show for anybody who's got them. And if not, have a blessed day. We'll end it in a prayer, of course, as always. $5 super chat from Christine says, nothing worth doing is easy. How do these MAGA loyalists lose their minds like this? Some states are not even implementing BBB policies. 100%, which she means one big, beautiful bill policies. You're absolutely right, Christine. They're losing their minds because they're controlled opposition, and they're undermining Trump on purpose. That's why. Doc Noah, the $2 super chat, says, broken promises from the woman who quit. I know, right? 1 year, quit 5 days. I believe it was 5 days. It might have been 1 day after her pension kicked in. And so that tells you what she cared about. Chiosap, $2 super chat, says, under Sharia law, debt is bad, theft is good. 100%. Chiosap with another $2 super chat says, was Tucker on Hunter's laptop, top or bottom? I don't want to know. I don't think you actually do either. All right. Let me get in the chat, see what's going on. Questions, comments, please tag me, guys, and I'll do my best to get through them. But again, please like and subscribe on your way out. And thank you for watching. I think we set a record today for biggest live stream ever with over 1,800, or at least it was very close to the biggest one ever. But very, very exciting stuff. Doc No says, I think Flynn's playing Carville to the faggot crowd. That's possible. That is absolutely possible. You know, he has, Flynn has been, you know, I was a part of that crowd that was always watching Flynn carefully from a good perspective for a long time. But man, he's been shady the last couple years. And one of the reasons he's been so shady is because he hasn't outwardly attacked Trump the way the others have, but he seems to always be in the mix around them. And that to me is really shady. So, but again, maybe he's playing a part. See you later in Morse Force chat. Going to Morse Force. All right. Well, I'm not seeing much come in. Lisa says, are they holding off on arrest till after midterms? Well, it depends on what you mean by that. There's a lot of arrests going on right now, but yes, on big names, I don't know if they are waiting or if they're going to start ramping it up soon, but I will tell you that it makes sense if they did wait, because Trump won't have to worry about confusing the voters if he does that. Dave says, did I see Iran's supreme leader wrote a letter designating new Ayatollah to speak on his behalf? They are divided as their attempt to bring back support. Interesting. Interesting. Colonel Towner went black pill with Blaine Holt? What? No. I'll have to look into that. Blaine, I've never talked to Colonel Holt or Colonel Towner, but I've talked to Blaine Holt and he was not blackpilling at all. So that would shock me. And that was only 2 weeks ago. Jay Hogger with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate the support. You guys are the best. I'm a listener supported show, so you guys, every little bit helps and makes it possible. So thank you so much. Bruce says, still mad, thought Trump could keep him from being canceled. Get over it, Mike. No, I insist. Right? DJ, I will do my best to try and find that topic, that trailer, and maybe we'll watch it. I don't know if I'll get copyrighted, though. So, what's Flynn's new comment today? Let's look this up. The flock one. Say we put a flock on Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff. We can watch and listen to the peace deals. I mean, see, this is why I don't trust him, because like Trump obviously trusts Witkoff and Kushner, and they've accomplished a lot. And then he says stuff like this. So I just, like, that's where I'm like, what the heck? What are you doing? So I don't know. Trump doesn't care about, well, I agree. I disagree, actually. I think Trump cares very much about the midterms. But what I think is that he is, he knows he'll be okay either way, but it's better if we win. But I think that's the truth. New Ayatollah committed to returning to full-scale war. Awesome. I mean, let's look at this. Ayatollah. Supreme leader Ayatollah Moshe Khamenei's in full health. They just said last week he was dying. Appointed several, are any of these legitimate sources though? I don't know. I'm not seeing anything too set in time. I don't trust the Financial Times. Pezeshkian, he's been one of the guys trying to get out of it. So I don't know. Who knows? Thank you. 1MST. Yours is my favorite podcast. Thank you so much. What do I think about Darlene Graham? I think she's totally fine. Trump endorsed her. He knows she'll vote for him no matter what. And so that's what I care about. So I'm not worried about her at all. Dan, you're right. It is ridiculous. The Jews are blamed for everything. It is absolutely stupid. Dave says there are two Iranians that do a show at 5:30 Eastern called Liberty Politics that discuss news from inside Iran. Interesting. Have they been accurate? Do they have a good track record? Doc knows says Trump cares about midterms, isn't going to sacrifice his principles to win them. Yes, exactly. He says yet he's like every other politician. Mary Quaker and Cherry, thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate it. Yeah, he has been the fall guy. Yeah, that's a good point about Pezeshkian. Rooster says Colonel Towner did not blackpill, angry and speaking truth about data centers. Yeah, see, and I really like Colonel Towner. I watch a lot of her stuff. She's brilliant, man. She's got so much insight into our intel agencies and the past and all the crazy stuff we've done. I will tell you, the only area I disagree with her on is and this is because I think she's so close to it, and so I understand it. It's not a knock; it's just a disagreement. But when you're always in that all the time, you're always seeing the dark and shady plans, and you've seen what they've accomplished and all that. I think it can make you like a little bit more jaded. Whereas I come from it, I'm coming from a more outward perspective where I hear her, I'm learning from her on the details, but I also kind of like I pull myself out. I think, and I try to look at like the whole picture. And I also like where she's looking at everything they always do. I also look at all the stuff they haven't been able to do. And so for me, I always stay in a place of hope because I feel like if it was as bad as, if they were like all powerful or if it was always trending in a bad direction, we'd be in a much place than we are already. And I think it's being rolled back. So I just always have more hope and I don't get angry about this stuff. I always feel like I'm like Trump, man. You know what he says? It's always going to work out. I feel the exact same way. I feel like everything right here, it will all work out. It always works out. That's how I look at life. And obviously that's not 100% true all the time, but I feel like this is the best way to look at life is that it always works out. And I think historically wise for humanity in general, it usually does work out. It's not in the short term, but long term. Things just get better. MAGA Colin show at 5:45 a.m. I can't get up that early. I agree. I think the PSYOP stuff is not what people think it is. I mean, not the PSYOP stuff, the data center stuff, especially here. Sorry, Mindy. I am taken. I am married. I'm going on 18 years. I'm very happily married. So Towner was on Whitney Webb. Yeah, that's the other thing. She's spoken favorably of Whitney Webb, and I cannot stand Whitney Webb. I think Whitney Webb is terrible. I think Whitney Webb does good stuff as far as like details on stuff that's happened in the past, but I believe her projections of what it means for the future and the way she does guilt by association for her deductions is awful. And I think it's all on purpose. I think she's an asset. Text on Fauci's phone proving new COVID vaccine could cause miscarriages. I know there's been terrible stuff with that. What's my prediction for the Niners this year? Well, we just lost Pearsall for the year, so that's not good. And our coach almost died in a car wreck. So, hey, typical Niners fandom, right? Just how does my team fall apart by injuries? But if we're healthy, like even without Pearsall, we're going to be one of the best teams in the league. We have so much talent, and we have the best coach in the league. So it's I think if we stay healthy, I think we're going to be right there. We might even win it all. People always underestimate us. And then when we're healthy, we just get back to the Super Bowl, and we lost one of those Super Bowls because they wouldn't call holds on Bosa the whole game because they didn't call holds on the Chiefs for 4 years in a row. So we should already have a Super Bowl with this team. Webb should be in a cave in grace. We'll lose to the Bears just like we did last year when we smashed you guys and we were missing half our team. We beat you guys with our hands tied behind our backs. Bears were nothing. I hate the Seahawks, Shogun. You know this. It'll never, ever happen. Never, ever happen. It's the Browns year. Yeah, they just lost their best player. Trump has deported enough illegals in Minnesota to eliminate a seat in Congress. That's amazing. I didn't know that. That's so cool. I live in North Carolina, but I grew up in California. I lived until California until I was 30. NFL's not scripted. As a friend of mine said, and he said it perfectly, this is an older gentleman who's been watching sports much longer than I am. He says it's rigged, but it's not fixed. In other words, it's tilted. So calls, whatever, but it's not fixed. You can't fix a league like the NFL. It's impossible. You'd have to have all 55 players on every team keeping hush-hush for 50 years. No, it's impossible. But is it rigged? Do they sway it? Do the refs get involved? Yeah. So sometimes a team, because it's sports, you can still overcome that. And so you can win even if it's rigged against you, but you have to play perfect. That's the truth. So do they decide sometimes that a team's going to they want to help a team win? Yeah. Do they always get the result they want? No. If they did, Vegas would never lose. Sometimes Vegas loses huge. Remember how much money the Vegas lost on the Patriots Super Bowl when they were undefeated? Christine Dorr, $5 super chat says, I'd love to see Miranda Devine on Hunter Biden on a podcast. Oh my God. She would tear him up. It'd be amazing. Shut up, Shogun. I won't read your stupid Seahawks comment on my show. How dare you? Be a Cowboys fan. Yeah, that's rough. That is rough. NFL has challenges, just not for everything. I will always mock the Seahawks. What are you talking about? The Ravens will take the Super Bowl this year? Dude, I'm sorry, but as long as Lamar Jackson is your quarterback, talk about the best choker I've ever seen. Is amazing in the regular season and chokes every playoffs horribly. I don't think Lamar's ever going to win the big one. Sorry. They just don't have enough talent. And also, I don't know if he can run anymore after last year. That was rough. Last year he barely ran. Over under on Lions losing on Thanksgiving. I don't know who they're playing. Lions are great when they are healthy. You were at the Catch game 1981? That's unbelievable. I know, DJ. I'm going to look at it. Cincinnati, I feel for you guys. You guys have the cheapest owner. Thoughts on Cunningham, BS, Carrington situation? I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. Am I referring to last year where the refs helped the Rams win? Whatever, dude. You guys make all your excuses. We had no players in that game. So you can make all the excuses you want. You guys still should have killed us. And the refs didn't make the guy fumble on the goal line. Nice try. Nice try. If you guys had punched that one in, you guys won easily. But you couldn't. You choked. Sorry you choked. Typical McVay team. He only got the one because they were just unstoppable that year with so much. But, Shanahan owns McVay. Jayhawk, $10 super chat says, President Trump, please don't make me vote for Byron. Oh, I wanted to talk about Byron. There's something interesting that came out. So listen, I'm not a fan of Byron Donalds. I'm not. But I will tell you, there's an op against him right now that is bigger than what the real issues are. And it's interesting. James Fishback accused him of sex trafficking and being investigated for it. That's how desperate by the way, Fishback is a snake. But he went after Byron Donalds over this and called him out for it. But the DOJ actually came out and said, this is not true. We're not investigating Byron Donalds. And said that's a form of weaponization by Fishback. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on in Florida. I'll tell you that. That's what I can tell you. Oh yeah, the WNBA stuff is crazy. Let's see. I did. Well, that's different. We didn't lose because we made a mistake. We played a perfect game in that second Super Bowl we lost. And yet Bosa wasn't allowed to run. Sorry. That's a difference. Listen, there are games where the Rams probably have lost because of the refs, but they lost that one because they fumbled on the goal line. That's okay. I know there's a lot of people. I get this every single year. Every year. All these people who hate the NFL. I get it. That's fine. Hate it. All you want. I still love it. And I know it's rigged. I still love it because the athletes are legit. The athletes are for real. And so are most of the coaches. But the league is, the owners, the gambling, it is rigged. I completely agree with that. But again, you can overcome rigging. And, I wish it wasn't. It's made me, I'm not as big a fan as I used to be, but I love fantasy football. I love watching the Niners play. I love football in general. I love basketball, although the NBA went too woke. So now I barely watch the NBA, even though I do watch. I played basketball. You know how hard it was for me to give up the NBA? As I play. By the way, when you play sports, you realize how impossible it is to script a game. It's impossible, but you can lean it. Listen, guys, I'm just bringing up what the chat brought up. Okay. This is end time. This is extra time. The main show is over. Everybody's getting mad that I'm talking about sports. You guys can move on. My regular show will be back on noon tomorrow. I do politics 99% of the time. If I want to talk sports with people in the chat at the end time, when it's free time, if you're mad about it, just go and come back. But otherwise, it's just me being me. Throw in your own question. I'll try to answer it. If you got something else. We do have stuff to fight about without football, but football's fun. Football's fun fights. My attending Orthodox divine liturgy? Probably never. I'm not religious. I love Jesus. I'm a Christian, but I don't identify with any denomination. I just go where the Holy Spirit is. So I don't just go looking for stuff. I go to churches, and where I feel where God is, I stay. And I found a great church already. So dudes, you're told. The one place where there's still sportsmanship is the NFL. The NFL has still maintained its masculinity in the game. I'm not talking about the stuff around the league, but the players themselves are still masculine. You can't play football and not be masculine. I will agree that most of the other sports have lost most of it, but football, it's still there. As long as the players are still men, I'll be watching NFL. Kev, hey, I'm a viewer, but as a viewer, I demand you stop running your show the way you want it. Oh, man. So funny. Thanks, Bruce. Listen, guys, I'm a person who likes to have fun too, okay? I could talk about sports. I could talk about movies all day. There's a lot of things I'm interested in other than politics. Politics is what my show is about because it's the most interesting, important thing right now. But I have to I have to stay focused on that. But then in the free time, I do whatever I want. DJ, I'm voting Fishback because of his policy on taxing New Yorkers moving here. Florida's full, and Byron isn't addressing that because he's a New Yorker. I mean, that's fine, but first of all, I think that's very un-American. I think that's a terrible policy. It's very socialist. And also, I think Fishback is a total, complete fraud. And Byron Donalds may be too. But this is disgusting. Falsely accusing a man of a crime and saying he's under investigation when he's not, especially sex trafficking, that's horrible. I mean, I don't know how, like, that's Democrat crap right there. Let's see. You guys are funny. Movie talk with the long was good. Thank you. I really enjoyed doing that. That was super fun for me. What's that, Bruce? Thanks, man. Let's see here. Anyways, look, guys, I love you guys. Don't worry about Ben Estrada. You can talk sports. I like talking other stuff. I just don't get enough chance to. Don Julio, you and Paul Floret will definitely click some, especially being Bible-based and Christianity. I mean, I love talking about the Bible too. You guys know that. You've gotten me off track on the Bible stuff all the time. So I'll go where Holy Spirit, but refuse it to see if it's an orthodoxy. I didn't say I'd refuse to see if it's an orthodoxy. I just said I have no plans to do that. I don't like traditional churches the way they do stuff. I just don't. I'm bored. I get bored in Catholic churches. I grew up in the Episcopal church. My dad was an Episcopal priest. I grew up in the traditional church. I think there's some beauty in it for sure, but I'm not interested in going back to it. I like the more modern feel of church where it's spirit-led. And that's just my own opinion. I'm not saying Orthodox aren't spirit-filled. I didn't say that at all. You're putting words in my mouth. Don't get offended because I don't want to go there. You know, if it's great for you, it's great for you. B made the jump streaming earlier. Pretty soon I'll receive that silver plaque. I mean, that would be amazing. I'm pretty far still from it though. When will we see commercials from Republicans? It's starting to happen. I saw one from Michael Watley the other day. Hockey's gay because Canada is. I think hockey's still got a lot of men in that sport. I just think it's boring to watch on TV. Thank you, Reef. I appreciate that. Like when you do Ace, awesome reference, genuine. Thanks, man. Can Trump shut down the IRS? No, not without the Congress. But he did significantly weaken it and fired a bunch of people. So that's a step forward. I suspect the left want to empty prisons for MAGA, then they admitted it, says Kellyanne. Yeah. I mean, they'll do whatever they can. Rubio was asked what he would do with the entire free day. He said he'd watch college football from noon to 2 a.m. He's one of us. I love it. Although I wouldn't watch college. I think college football for me, here's the problem I have with college football. A, you guys don't think college is rigged. I mean, come on. But B, now that they pay the athletes, it's like you lose the whole amateur aspect. And then the next thing for me is it's really hard to root for a program versus players. I like knowing that on my team, I'm going to be rooting for the same guys for 5 to 10 years. That makes it more fun for me. College, you get 2, maybe 4 years if you're lucky. But most of the time it's like now it could be 1 year. It's so boring to me to watch like the uniform without the same players. And that's why I don't like college. I miss the old days when they all stuck with a team. I used to love college when you knew a team, when you knew guys were going to play 3 or 4 years, it was worth it to me. But now I don't like college anymore. God is definitely moving to fix the church. Thoughts on WNBA 2 dudes signing up for the draft? I think it's hilarious, and I think they're exposing something, which is beautiful. I'm glad they went through. I'm glad they're pushing it. Most based answer ever? What on what? What was the based answer? You're welcome, Joe. Thank you. I do like playoff baseball. Yeah, football's rigged. Look, listen, sports people have always been cheating or rigging sports to some degree. It's just, it hasn't always been directly from the leagues. It's gotten worse in some aspects for sure, or at least more outward. But it's always, people have always been doing this stuff. It's just part of the game. Do I agree that sports in some ways are worse? Yeah, I do. But do I also agree there's like some greatness still? Absolutely. I think football week to week is still awesome. I'm sorry. I just do. I think it's super fun. And listen, the best teams are still the teams with the most talent. There's just no getting around that. It's not like they could just pick the Raiders or the Browns and be like, you guys are going to win the Super Bowl this year because it's been 40 years. You're due. That's scripted. If it was scripted, we'd always be seeing this. Do you guys honestly think the New York Knicks, they wanted it to be 60 years since they won, or it was 50? Do you think they'd want the Knicks to wait 53 years? It's the New York, huge market. If sports were completely scripted, do you think they'd let New York wait 50 years for a finals? There's no way. So you still have to build a team. You still have to do, it's like sports are real, even if there is some rigging going on. There's just no way. Like if sports were rigged, it'd be like Los Angeles, Boston, New York, Philadelphia winning every single year. So you just can't, the Cowboys are by far make the most money in the league. By far. It's not even close. And you think they want the Cowboys to not have won a Super Bowl in 30 plus years? Come on. So if the NFL is rigged completely, if it's scripted, the Cowboys have 3 more Super Bowls at this point. So you just cannot. The case that it's completely scripted and rigged is just nonsense. It doesn't even make sense. Yeah, LeBron would have 8. They would have made LeBron the greatest player of all time. They tried to, and he wasn't good enough. They wanted him to be the face of the league. They wanted him to be better than Jordan. So that's, it's just telling you, like, yeah, you still have to be good enough, because you can't force the players. You get one player here or there, but you can't force a whole team to not give in. Or 1919 World Series, exactly, the White Sox. You cannot, these guys care. They're competitive. They want to play. Mavs fan. Oh God. Yeah. You guys giving up Brunson's crazy. So bye, Lisa. Have a great one. I got to get going too, guys. Listen, I love you guys. This was fun. Sorry for everybody upset over the talk, but come on. We were having fun, but listen, you guys are the best. Let's pray and call it a day, and I'll be back again at 12 tomorrow. Okay. So Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Bless everybody here, Lord. Thank you for them. They're fun. I enjoy getting to know these people. I enjoy going back and forth with them. And I'm super grateful for this community you've blessed me with. And I just hope I'm making a good impact, Lord. But thank you for today. Thank you for all you've done. Bless, God, everybody here, everybody watching. Bless our president, his team. Give them wisdom, strength, guidance, and protection to do everything they need to do to get our country back on track. I pray, God, that you see finished everything you started in this miracle we got of our rescuing our country. And Father, I just pray we do everything we can to leave a better country to our kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids. In Jesus' name, amen. Love you guys. Have a blessed rest of your day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. God bless.
Headlines screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight.